It is probably the single most important mathematical idea of all. The notion of proof by circle and line or ruler and compass construction means that geometry can be known about in a way that is different from knowing about physical things, and so makes geometry epistemically differentiated. Furthermore, starting from circles and lines alone and constructing a relationship using circles and lines alone makes the conclusions certain in a way that nothing else was at the time. In geometric reasoning, the argument and the conclusions were made supremely clear and evident to the senses. Indeed, the concept of proof, a mechanism that gave a warrant for claiming geometry to be perfectly and absolutely true, made geometry the very paradigm of what we mean true and certain knowledge to be. In effect, in our understanding of nature, true means true, like geometry is true.
Come go with me. Open your mind. Was all I ever knew. Finding the knowledge of the real world starts with the point of which has no parts. These are the axioms of life.
True.
And I take my chances with the old ways, finding the proofs in geometry.
Perfect.
And I don't care what all the sophistry. I find the proofs in reality. They were right.
We call this
We know that they were right.
true. We call this proof. Like geometry is true.
Starting with circles and lines alone, constructing the nature of what's known.
We call this proof.
Conclusions are clear and the evidence seen. This 3D space works perfectly. And I'll take my chances with the old ways, finding the proofs in geometry. And I don't care what all the sophists say. I find the proofs in reality.
Like geometry is true. Perfect. Absolutely.
And all around you is sinking sand. You have a place on which to stand. Foundations were already built for you.
Absolutely true.
Open your mind. And I'll take my chances with the older ways, hearing the words of what the ancients said. They say my words sound like sorcery, but there's wisdom in all honesty.
True.
Come go with me. Open your mind. Come go with me. We'll find the truth.
Absolutely true.
And we are live. Welcome, everybody. It is Thursday. That's about it.
Yeah, no shit, Sherlock. It's Thursday.
But yeah, I haven't got anything planned for today. Well, I have. I've got some Enthymemes stuff going over the argument and some of the stuff.
Well, we were talking about Kevin's keto earlier. So just so you know, I'm going to send it. Like, remember I told you I was shredded? Okay, well, I figured out the app to blur out my face. I'm going to put it in that text channel. Just for you. Just for you. You can't
go to that text channel, can I?
Yeah, no.
Live.
Not on the live thing.
Keep it
I
for
mean,
the,
you can if you want. I mean, it's showing off, but I already
comment,
boarded up,
yeah.
so that's cool. Anyway, what were you saying?
Enthymeme. Oh, we've been messing about with the website today, so I've been doing a bit of logic and putting that onto the website. I've decided I'm going to have an argument page on it for all of the arguments that people would be willing to go into debate for, right? The arguments, basically the arguments that will never be rebutted, the arguments that would win debates. So the stuff that will never be argued. You know, like the if all horizontals are parallel to the plane of the horizon, then all horizontals are parallel to each other. I mean, they think you have to put up evidence to prove that horizontals are parallel to the plane of the horizon, which is obvious that there is no black swan. No black swan can be produced, i.e. a horizontal that is not parallel to the plane of the horizon, or a horizontal that is not parallel to another horizontal. Neither of those two things can ever be produced, so you have to go with that horizontals are parallel to his globe, which therefore proves that horizontals being parallel occurs on the globe. His globe. And that's just the way it has to be. And I was thinking we're starting with the if the starting premise is tis globe, then anything that occurs in reality that you can prove within reality must therefore occur on the globe. Whatever you imagine the globe to be, the things that can be proved in reality must occur on the globe if that's the condition that you live on a globe. Whatever a globe may be, you can consider it to be whatever. People don't like that. Everybody's left. So I've got a thing with Kenny at the minute, and he wants to have a debate. I'm not too sure what he's going to have a debate about.
Who's Kenny?
Kenny's one of the guys, the Blue Marble scientist. In fact, let me find which thing it is, and I'll get that up and put it on for you, so you can have a look at what he's been saying. Because I mean, they do say a lot of stuff in comments.
I'm just gonna go ahead and guess. He said some stupid stuff.
He wants to debate.
About
It's
what?
on global antinomies. Let me just find that for you. Live. Look at that on yesterday's. 68 comments. There were times when we didn't used to get any comments, you know. And now we seem to be getting a lot.
You mean on YouTube?
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, they were, I think they were scared, frightened to post anything. Right, so you guys can see that, can you? So these are all the comments here. I don't bother hiding comments. There we go.
Yeah.
Okay, right now, I know you guys can see that as well.
I can see, yes.
Okay, so Kenny, catching on, Bev. I'm almost proud of you. Your crosshairs were how much higher on the bill? See, now, people keep going on about this, right? And they say that I'm the one that's obsessed with it. We did a load of tests, and we've made the GIFs and the memes and the things from them. But these guys keep talking about one picture that somebody's got from one of the things that we did. They're not bothered about any of the other stuff, but these guys are obsessed with a picture that they've found on the internet. It says your crosshairs were how much higher on the building than they were on you? How much did that horizontal plane increase in elevation from level? And he thinks a horizontal plane can increase in elevation. That's right, a horizontal plane with no slope. He says, you can see it plain as day, Bev. Those crosshairs are, I mean, I don't know whether he noticed, but I mean, I'm in the front. So it's sort of weird for me to look at it because I wasn't there. I was the guy holding the measuring rod. He says, remember, it's a horizontal plane. Normal at 1 point to gravity. By your words, it cannot curve. Level is normal at all points to gravity and follows the ellipsoid. It's Kenny. I hope you're getting this recorded, Kenny. These are your words, Kenny, not mine. I'm just reading out your comments because you're too scared to come in and say them yourself. And that's the truth. So you keep posting your comments, Kenny, and I'll keep reading them out. This is what you're saying, not me. You. You've got a horizontal plane increasing in elevation.
Slope.
Yeah. A slope of a level. He says, your picture, my picture. What picture? We did a video. There's multitude of pictures within a video. So, again, your picture is the one that Chikey's got, I think, and drawn lines all over.
Oh, for fuck's sake. Chikey?
Yeah, that's what they're going with. This is a Chikey picture.
Where's his eye level on that one? Whatever it is.
It's wherever he decides to draw the line on it. It's like Chikey's leading this one. Don't worry about it. Okay, they've got this one sorted. It says, your picture depicts exactly what the globe model predicts and follows the definitions of geodetic surveying perfectly. Well, level being horizontal is in geodetic surveying, obviously, because it's provably is. So, I mean, if that's what you're talking about, then yeah. There's no separation of level and horizontal, and it definitely doesn't get shown in the crosshairs of an auto level. Because you're ridiculous. He said, if you were seeking truth, you found it. Anything other than accepting what you see and trying to reproduce it honestly and reproduce it honestly. Who was the one that did it? What are they talking about? We were actually the ones that went out there to do an optics test over 500 meters. Somebody else took a screenshot of that test and went, ooh, look at Blackpool Tower in the background. That's on whoever did that. That's on them, not me. If you were seeking truth, you found it. Anything other than accepting what you see and trying to reproduce it honestly and seeing what the actual outcome is would be outright intellectual dishonesty. What's he talking about? Anyone? Fill the gaps.
I don't know. He needs to use commas. I'm pretty sure.
Well, we went out there to do a test, right? So we were actually the ones that broadcast it on a live stream to a Discord channel. Then that video went out on a live stream from Geo's Discord channel. On a live stream to YouTube. So what's he talking about when he says anything other than accepting what you see and trying to reproduce it honestly and seeing what the actual outcome is would be outright intellectual dishonesty? Looking at something in the back of somebody's live stream is what these guys have done.
In the picture we have just as I said many times, perspective drop. So in that picture, also you are dropping in perspective. So
What picture?
this picture of Blackpool Tower where Beth is going away with a measuring rod, and in the background is Blackpool Tower.
Yeah, they haven't got anyone to actually come forward and present the picture.
Yeah.
So I don't know what picture they're talking about.
Which one?
They're just talking about, I don't know. It would be handy if they could do a presentation of exactly what they're talking about, but I doubt they will. Don't think they can. I think they're just making shit up, to be honest. So nothing about the picture supports your argument. What argument? Level is horizontal. Is that an argument?
This is not argument from the picture.
No. And when we went there, we went to show exactly that you couldn't see 2.5 millimeters within the optical scope of an auto level, which, I mean, wasn't really an argument either, but it was for people in Discord to look at it and see whether they could see whatever measurements they could see. So, I mean, again, nothing to do with Blackpool Tower. Just happened to be in the background. This is a fantasy that somebody's made up, namely Chaiki, but it comes from the school of Jesse Kozlowski and the not surveyors. People that don't really understand the optics of how lensing works, and especially with an auto level. But if that's what needs to be done for people to go and research optics, it's handy that my son's going to be a photographer. So this is right up our street. We can ask people why lenses do certain things. How many people do you reckon are going to separate level and horizontal because of the lensing system in an auto level?
I'm not sure. But how many people of those people that would do that are considering an isosceles triangle at the same time? Probably zero.
I don't know. I know when Ranty did it, he wasn't. They were all doing trig to right angle triangles, weren't they? Like the guys that do the what's it called? Looking at the lights in the sky sort of stuff.
Oh yeah, that's right. Ranty didn't do anything, did he?
He got a picture like Chaiki off the internet, analysed it wrongly, in my opinion. But I mean, he had support. He had Conspiracy Cats and Ruhif.
It sounded like he looked at it for several hundred hours, or at least a couple hundred.
Couple of 100 hours, yeah.
Yeah.
How long do you reckon Chaiki's spent over gazing at my videos?
I mean, I don't know if it can see that far.
What, to his TV screen? They do all of their science through pictures from YouTube.
Right. So the picture on his screen that's in the distance, I don't think he can see that far in the distance of the picture that he's drawing the lines on. I think that's what's confusing him. He thinks I don't know. I can't think for him.
He draws horizontal lines on pictures to say that horizontal and level are different and that horizontals aren't parallel, whilst drawing parallel horizontal lines on a picture.
Yeah, I honestly don't know what's going through Chike's head.
Right, now, this is the bit that I wanted to get over. Right, this is Beddy. Oh. He says he's going over what we did last night. This is pretty important, I think. In fact, I think this is absolutely huge for people that don't actually realise anything about this sort of stuff. I asked him, how does level is horizontal imply a contradiction? And this is Beddy. Beddy says, easy. If, because this is a blue marble science logical statement here now. Beddy says this. If level is horizontal, then all verticals are parallel. Bish bash bosh.
Good.
That's a good one, that, isn't it? And Beddy then goes on to say, but some verticals are not parallel.
And he showed that.
Well, he doesn't think you can show that verticals are parallel.
By the way, there is error here, logical error, because he said, but some verticals.
Yeah.
But if in their model and along their argumentation, there is only one vertical to a given plane at a point, as they say. So there is only one. So not some verticals are not parallel, but all beside this one should be not parallel.
Yeah, it says all in the statement at the beginning, so you only need to falsify one to negate the all.
Yes, I know,
Yeah.
but still, so he should use one, but he says some verticals. So which ones? He cannot show that.
He says there's a contradiction there, i.e., the statement, all verticals are parallel, and some verticals are not parallel, contradict one another. So there you go. You've got a contradiction.
Rather opposition, but still, this some verticals are not parallel. This is his addition.
Yep.
You didn't say any contradictory statement there. He is adding something to your statement, and then he is making contradiction.
Yeah.
But this is him, not you.
I'd say it's a blue marble induced contradiction, but he's induced it by just stating that some verticals are not parallel. I mean, that's fine. But I mean, the statement on his, I take it, on his model is that no verticals are parallel. That's what he should be saying, or what he should wants to say. Because, you know, this is the contradiction of the two different models. The geometric model that has plumb and level being perpendicular, and the Tis Globe model that just says, nah, not that. With no sort of statement to back it up or anything. It just says, not that. So the blue marble science is the science of the not that. He says, oh, are you a dilethist who believes that a statement and its negation can both be true? So he's just making a negation there. He thinks some verticals are not parallel is the negation of all verticals are parallel.
No, it isn't.
I know
it is
it
not
isn't.
negation.
But he's just said that, hasn't he?
Yes,
Or are
he
you?
did.
Oh, let's like this has got nothing to do with this statement here, right? Because we've got to not forget that Beddy is an intellectual sophist who can just claim that none of these words are connected to any other words. They're just words on their own, completely floating around of their own means that you imply your own meaning to, not the meaning that he implied.
when he says some verticals are not parallel, it means that at least one is parallel.
Yes.
So, and this is impossible on his model. So this is false from the
Well,
beginning.
don't say that. It's impossible. Nobody knows what Beddy's model is. Beddy could be somebody without a model that's just trying to give the blue marble scientists a bit of logic. Because there's only one way that reasoning works. Beddy's just, I think Beddy's just trying to help the blue marble scientists with a bit of, to see a logic and a contradiction. They see how ridiculous it is that he doesn't really know what a negation is.
But still, he wouldn't help in that way, because if there is another vertical being parallel to this original one, let's say, it means that we are on the plane, the horizon. And if we are on the plane of the horizon, it means that we have infinite number of verticals. So there is only one true dichotomy here. Or we have only one vertical at a given plane, or we have infinite number. There is nothing in the middle. So when he says that some, or it means at least one, he's just killing his argument here. If he is arguing for globe, I don't know, but for sure it will not help blue marble science.
Oh, Beddy's well, I think it might help them, right, to realize that you don't trust anybody else. It's only up to you. You're the only one that can reason this for yourself. If you end up trusting anyone else, there's a chance they could become a shadow giant handing out paralogisms. Bullshit, basically. They could just be lying to you. How do you know? Always better to be able to check for yourself, just to make sure that some Ponzi hairdresser isn't lying to you. I say, well done. Will this be the argument we will be debating from now on? Whether all horizontals are parallel, due to the fact that Beddy says, if level is horizontal, then all verticals are parallel. Or plums, I guess, if you say level. Can ya? All plums are parallel. But they've got that guy who may or may not be from Maine, who they trust implicitly with his argument. So that's I think that's the argument we should be doing. Like I say, I'm on the website, on the level.live. There will be some of these logical arguments that you can try to defeat for yourself. Try and put yourself in the shoes of a full-on tis glober, spherical glober, I guess, a dilithious glober, or whether you just accept the contradiction as a contradiction. It's up to you. And I think this is the okay. So Beddy's okay, and okay, will this be the argument we're debating from now on? Okay. But there remains the issue of what Paper said the other night. I quoted his exact words and you claimed I was lying. Can you apologise for that, please? No, I'm not apologising for somebody else. Mike Jones. Sorry, go on, Paper.
I don't know if he's talking about this perspective being reality and vice versa. So yes,
he doesn't. Yeah, he doesn't say, like, he hasn't. They do tend to do this a lot. They talk about stuff in different threads, then it gets linked about, but nobody actually knows what they're talking about. So I just ignore them. I think it's pointless in doing that.
Ah, maybe you're right, yes.
Yeah. Now, Mike Jones says, nice to see that Beddy concedes that most, if not all, verticals are parallel, and only some are not. Brackets in his mind. Nothing to apologise for. Beddy was clearly lying. Would be nice if Beddy apologised to paper. He won't, though. Mike Jones, Beddy says, we're playing to Mike. I did not say that most verticals are parallel. Weasel words. He's getting his like intellectual sophistry. This.
Yes, he did say. Yes,
he said some are not.
Some are not parallel, and some.
Does that imply most? Because that's what he's like. You know, he's a weasel word guy, isn't he?
Some, which means at least one, but if not all, it generally it is minor part.
Yeah, all the ones that are perpendicular to the plane, all of those would be. So most, I would say. But Beddy seems to not say most. So could you say less than 50%? Or around about 50%? At least less than 50% of verticals could possibly be parallel. Going from what Beddy says. And then he says, some verticals are not parallel. Does not imply most verticals are parallel. Indeed, some verticals are not parallel is true when no verticals are parallel. I wouldn't say so, but check in any elementary logic textbook.
No, he is
some. How could
wrong.
none be some?
Yes, and by the way, he is
or all.
He's setting up opposition to all. You said all, so some means it is opposite, not all. So contradiction is only in opposition here. That all against not all, and these not all are some. That's it. So, so it cannot be none. Some cannot be none, because it is in opposition to all. So not all, but some. So there are some verticals which are not parallel, not none.
There you go as well. Axiom 9. The whole is greater than its part. So all would be the whole and some would be a part.
Yes.
You cannot have some being the whole. You've already stated all. So I think it's none. Beddy. Beddy's trying to put include the middle, isn't he? At least.
Yes, but still, it is not a whole, but it is not none also, because part of the whole is something. So it cannot be none, because none is not part of anything.
Yeah, some is in between, and unfortunately, this logic states all because we are keeping with the law of the excluded middle. At least we are.
Categorical statement.
Yeah. So Beddy would be better to sort of let everybody know the type of logic he's employing here, because it seems to be sophistry violating the laws of logic, communication. It says, P.S. I did not use the word only. I did not say only some verticals are not parallel. Another weasel word.
It
just
doesn't
add another
change
only.
anything.
Yeah.
doesn't
some.
change anything.
He knows.
Some means not all. Simple.
Yeah.
But some still, they are some verticals being not parallel. So, and they are not all. So there are also some verticals which are parallel. And if there are more than one, and his statement implies that has to be more than one, it means that he's killing his own argument anyway.
Like Jones says, so which do you imagine it is? Are more than half of all verticals not parallel in your paracosm? That'd be interesting to find out how long people have had that paracosm. How long they've stick with it. Exactly when it was that they had to question the paracosm. Kenny Eaton says, too bad I clipped Paper's statement. Would you like a copy of the MP3? So they've put you into an MP3, Paper.
Wonderful.
Mm-hmm. And Kenny then says to Mike, do you not understand spherical geometry? No idea what it is, have you, Kenny? If you want to debate that would be one of the things that'd be good. Do a redo of the Fight the Flat Earth, that'd be interesting. Mike Jones says, the statement where he said parallel lines in perspective view will appear to converge, diverge like train tracks appear to do. Yeah, we all heard Betty lie about that. Darren's put a thing and says, is that an epiphany I hear? So the like I asked people to do, if you can spot anything, contradictions or anything in any of the clips that we've done, you going over any of the old videos, put a timestamp in there and, you know, put your comments in it. It'll be helpful for us going over it and anybody else that does it, because it's a gold mine for looking out for global contradictions, the antinomies that they've all set up. Blue Marble Science, he's a genius, says, so your rebuttal is floptics. Thanks for exposing your diletheism, Bev. I like the repurposing of the diletheism. If only they could come and talk about it. Imagine that. Imagine a place where people could come and talk about diletheism. All of the consequences of accepting contradictions, not being able to see contradictions. It'd be good to talk about that. Oh, look at this one here. Have we got that? Can we get somebody to read this? Just a minute, let me...
No, so now he's trying to explain this some us, all us versus some us.
Us, yeah.
So in plural. So, but still, yes, we know that all us are B implies that some us are B. Yes, we know, because Bev read that this axiom that whole is not a part. But part is part of the whole. So yes, all us are B implies that some us are B. Yes, because part is inside the whole. No problem. Now he's trying to make some argument from that. I don't know.
Yeah, it's a good argument. From the well, it's like he says, it's logic 101. Blue Marble logic, that is. We'll see whether we can get some special people to read the Blue Marble logic later on. I said to him, how many is sum as pertaining to A, horizontals, and B, parallel verticals? How many? And as you would imagine, never gets replied to that.
Of course.
Yeah. You can't state how many sum is for either of those. And Betty says, I suggest getting hold of an elementary logic textbook to know how many sum is as part of a all. I say, I have the elements, the organon, the trivium. Good, thanks. Is there any other elementary logic books you'd recommend? And then he asked, what edition or translation of the organon are you using? Because you know what comes next? That's the wrong one.
Yes, this is not. Yes,
Yeah,
this
not
word
that one.
shouldn't be here. Yes, we this interpretation of this translator is not good. We have better. This is old. You have old. We have modern. Yes, yes, I know that kind of argumentation. Yes,
And I
not
was
that. You have organon, but not that.
Oh, I don't know where it gone. Okay. Mike Jones says, Betty is struggling to decide whether he believes his paracosms vertical are parallel most of the time or just a handful of times. This is his attempt to distract from that. Good afternoon, Rocky. Welcome, everyone. And then Betty says emote. I don't really get that, but I mean, it could be a code word or something. Betty says, if Aristotle himself is too much of a challenge. I don't know what he's talking about. Is he talking about the organon?
I think so, but he's talking to himself.
Yeah. I recommend an introduction to logic by H.W.B. Joseph, which is an excellent introduction to Aristotelian logic. I mean, is that okay? I mean, he is sort of wanting to include the middle. I'm not too sure whether Betty, I was meaning what sort of logic, blue marble logic. The one that changes sums or adds sum in there. Because, I mean, that does sound inductive logic to me. Adding sum in there. I say, Mike's already helped more than enough. Oh, no, wait a minute. He says, yeah, you can pick it up for about 30 quid. That's Mike can sub you. I said, Mike's helped more than enough. Have you read the Sophistical Refutations, and would you like to come and talk about sophistry within modern debate sometime? I'll be doing a series on bringing logic to life, and I think you'll be interested, an interesting contributor to the discussion. You can tell I'm moving out, getting more into the proper debate sort of stuff. These guys are useless, terrible, they're no good. We need more of a competition. Betty says, I think an elementary textbook would be more of use than Mike, to be honest. Before the Sophistical Refutations, I suggest you understand the second book of the Organon. You know that? The second book. It's either the Sophistical Refutations comes before the second book, or the Sophistical Refutations is in the second book. Why would you need to go the second book first before? knowing the sophistical refutations that come before it. Did they used to read books backwards? I don't know what he's talking about, but Beddy seems to think you should go to the second book before you look at the sophistical refutations, which must either be in the second book or come in the first book. Judge for yourself. Work that logic out. And this is where Beddy starts going into his super snowflake mode. He says, Jones said in a now deleted comment, this is Beddy, says this. I agree that liars like Beddy are scum, but when they double down and refuse to apologise when they've been caught lying is truly appalling. It's Beddy wrote this. Double quote marks at the beginning there. He must have been angry when he said that. Do you want me to read it out again?
Jones said in deleted comment, it means that you will not find this comment.
It's not there, yeah, you can't see it. But he's going to type it out anyway, so he can't really be that upset about it being wrote in print because he's printed it out himself. So I'd say you haven't really got a leg to stand on, Beddy, because you've actually typed the same fucking thing out yourself. Can't be that upset about it.
And how he can prove that this is what Jones said?
Oh, they'll have screenshots of all sorts of stuff.
Okay.
But I mean, if Beddy's typed the same thing as Mike Jones typed, then what's the difference? They both typed it. Or is it the speaking it? Is it me speaking it? I'll say it again. I agree that liars like Beddy are scum, but when they double down and refuse to apologise when they've been caught lying, it's truly appalling. And then Beddy says, why would I apologise when I did not lie? I quoted paper organist verbatim, and I have a copy of what he said. I am looking for an apology from Bev and Paper, and now from Mike. I say, your sophistry is obvious to all. Your misunderstanding and misrepresentation is either ignorance or deceitful. Hopefully you can discuss the issue you have, like a man in debate. Where would you like to talk? Because this would be a little bit better, wouldn't it? Instead of being snowflakes. Come and actually tell us what's wrong.
And when he quoted Mike Jones, why he didn't quote me verbatim here? He just said, I quoted paper organist. So please quote me. Next time, please quote, bring quote. Or timestamp or whatever.
Well, I think it's in a different video, I think. Paper said what he said. No interpretation required. Now, please apologise. And Kenny says, anytime you want to step out of your echo chamber, Bev. And I say to Kenny, you wish to defend Beddy's sophistry in debate? Kenny says, I'm referring to Paper's statement of parallel lines diverging. There is no sophistry. Paper said what he said. I have an MP3 of it. If you think you can back up Paper's claim that parallel lines do diverge, I'm ready when you are. Step out of the echo chamber and let's figure it out. This is what I was on about Paper. And they're setting up a narrative that
Yes,
not them. They haven't said that parallel lines diverge, even though it was Fight the Flat Earth that said that.
And by the way, I said that in perspective.
Yeah.
And we can see that. So I repeat again. In perspective, parallel lines will converge. Not diverge, converge. With distance. Increasing distance means increasing divergence of parallel lines, not in reality, in image. In reality, parallel lines do not diverge or converge.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know how many times you'd have to state that, right?
Maybe it was my last time.
Yeah,
I'm
hope so.
slightly bored.
And Betty says, Bev, do you understand that when we put something in quotation marks, we signify that the person actually said, not some interpretation or sophistry? The actual words. Now, when are you going to apologize for what you called me? Waiting. When we put things in inverted commas, we do it to signify not that. Like that's the thing. That's bunny ears, Betty. And we have to make sure that certain people actually mean the speech, the quote marks, because they don't put who they say has done that. A few of your friends, Betty, they use it to mean bunny ears. They're not that.
Yes, Kenny. It was Kenny who
Yeah.
brought these definitions of level and horizontal, and then later he used inverted commas with horizontal and level. So he is changing meaning, not we.
Kenny. Oh, like Mike Jones. Seethe, says Betty. I'm not too sure he's okay. Can somebody make sure Betty's all right? 33 minutes ago for Kenny. Bev, are you not up for a debate with me? It certainly seemed as though you were interested 2 days ago. I mean, I didn't even hear about it 2 days ago, Kenny. Anybody hear about Kenny wanting a debate 2 days ago?
I cannot remember that.
And now you seeming to avoid it. He says, I'm sure you can logically explain how you produced a picture that accurately depicts horizontal diverging from level at a rate that matches predicted Earth curve. I bet you can do it without contradicting yourself. Come on, Bev, it'll be fun. Bring all the things I can't provide in a YouTube comment and present them all to you. You can even bring paper. Come on, Bev, it'll be fun. I'll bring all the things I can't provide in a YouTube comment and present them all to you. You can even bring paper. This is Kenny. Stepping up for debate. Who'd have thunk it? I say to Kenny, what would you debate about? We know you cannot formulate an argument, so you'd have nothing to debate. Name the topic and I'll humiliate you in front of your high priest. Globe versus globe. Let's do this. Bev's globe versus the blue marble science globe. The rules are tis globe. So therefore, anything you can prove in reality must also be on the globe. Must be. There's no other way. You can't prove something in reality and not have it on your globe. Contradictions versus non-contradictions. Should be good for debate. Let's do this. Blue marble science paper doesn't have a clue, Bev. This is blue marble science. He's jealous. Consider muting him.
Like Nathan Oakley.
Yeah.
SE. Yeah. If SE have had a good point, so let's mute him. So the same.
Yeah, he doesn't. Blue marble doesn't want to hear you. That's what it is.
Yes, because maybe I
painful.
would have objection, some very, very good objection, and or killing argument or something, and so We have mute button for that.
This is Kenny and thinking they were geeing each other up. This is great when this sort of stuff happens. So Kenny says, so he's lying about what he said and calling you a liar. Lying is worse than calling someone out for what they are. I don't appreciate him attacking your character, nor my own. My father told me long ago there is nothing worse than a liar. It served me well throughout my life. I have little tolerance for them and call them out for what they are. Right? So Kenny doesn't like people who lie. Now, finding a contradiction. I don't know whether they have lies and stuff like that, whether that goes. I like that. Well done, Kenny. Betty, it looks as though Mike Jones replied to this with some name calling, but YouTube deleted. It looks as though Betty thinks identifying liars like him as scum is name calling. Perhaps the whole server should be muted, says Betty. They are listening. You can always choose not to listen, says Mike Jones. Oh, here's the clip. Do you want to hear it?
Of course.
At this point, the previous day, video clip, paper said, parallel lines in reality will diverge. How dare you say, 201, that I was lying? My statement is this is false, refers to paper's statement that parallel lines in reality will diverge. For parallel lines in reality cannot diverge. Why does paper think they will diverge? Please explain. And please apologize for calling me a liar. So do you want to...
Sure. Parallel lines in reality will diverge in lens. That means that...
in lens?
In lens, yes.
Yeah.
In lens, yes. Because
Let's go back.
lens is... That's what lens is doing. Is converging or diverging parallel lines. So from one side of the lens, lines are parallel, and on the other side of the lens, they are no longer parallel. So lens is changing parallel lines into not parallel lines, but not at the same position, on the other side of the lens. In reality, yes.
Yeah. Let's listen to give it a few more seconds so we can see previous content.
Optics. It has to happen that way within optics. No other way. No curvature. Straight lines, parallel lines in reality will diverge in lens. That means that...
Yeah, in lens, you just said about in optics and all of that, it's straight lines, but in the lens, it will diverge. So,
yeah.
Yeah, Betty, you're not going to get anything. Then no apology. Stop being so fucking dishonest. You could clearly see that he was talking about the optics within the lens. That's what he was talking about. Fucking hell.
I would say that he was smarter. Just maybe to cut this clip shorter, because this lens is just denying his claim that I said about reality, just reality. I said about lens. This is poor, very poor sophistry. Baby,
Yeah,
sorry.
terrible sophistry, Betty.
How disappointing.
Give us a link to the fucking clip. And he says, in lens, are the next words after it. So yeah, I'd call you even worse now, Betty, trying to get out of it by clearly being even more misrepresentative. Yeah, fucking thumbs down for that one. Lying shit. Stefan Mudd said, paper said clearly parallel lines will diverge after going through a lens if they lay in different optical axis. How so? At the same time, he claims the drop is due to perspective. Again, how so? Just
Because
too many
of lens.
questions, yeah.
This lens is making perspective. Without lens, there is no perspective. This is so simple.
Mm-hmm. Now, don't know whether you notice, but you know who my biggest fans are within the comment section, and obviously the people that write and the people that get most excited about this stuff. It's these guys. Look at them. Betty, Blue Marble, Kenny, Stefan, Darren, and there's Mike. Occasionally Mike, and then there's me. But these guys, thank you very much, guys, for joining in with us on this wild ride that we're on. Oh, wait a minute.
They are making this whole section of comments around statement which completely refutes their accusation that I said something. I did what I didn't say, and Baby clipped it, and in this clip it is obviously can be heard that I say in lens. So, and they are still, even if Stefan Mudd told that I am talking about diverging or converging in lens, they still accuse me that I am talking about reality, that just in reality.
Mm-hmm.
So this is very poor sophistry, really. This is, for me, this is not even sophistry. Sorry.
Yeah, I mean, his argument is that if you clip a bit off the end of a sentence, then you said something. That's
Yes,
it.
but
That's his argument. That's about the best they've got.
yes, but still, this in lens is just denying what they claim I said. But still, they are just ignoring, because Baby ignored it. Of course, this is only Stefan Mudd who said first time that I am talking about diverging in lens. Baby didn't say that I was talking about parallel lines diverging in lens, just parallel lines diverging. And then he added in reality without lens. So he's just omitting. This is, sorry, Baby, if you are hearing, this is called lying by omission, what you did in your comments. And I keep that. You are a liar by omission. Sorry. I am disappointed.
I call it intellectual sophistry, because he's trying to turn an argument where he's obviously in the wrong, but he's trying to turn it on you as though make it your fault, so he deserves an apology. That's a little bit worse than lying for me, for him to try and want an apology from you.
Yeah, so he's just escalating this. Not only that I said something wrong, but because someone said that he is a liar, because he is. So now he's escalating that into that he deserves apology. So this is outrageous. For me, this is outrageous.
I think he's made a logical statement and then made a claim that says, but some verticals are not parallel. Well, that's a claim that he should be able to show where the verticals that are not parallel. I would like to see where the equipotential angle of adjustment is measured from Beddy. Where is he going to show that?
He cannot show that, but still, in his argument is error, because parallel verticals means that they have to be at least two. You cannot have one vertical being parallel to what?
Parallel to itself. They did that the other week.
Yes, but still, it is nonsense. So at least two. He cannot say, because, you know, you can say that we have a collection of verticals, and if we are saying sum of verticals, it means that at least one and all but one. But we are talking about parallels. So we have to have at least two. So he cannot say that some parallels are all but one. He cannot say that because it doesn't make any sense. You have to have at least two verticals being parallel. So being parallel, it means you have to have physically two verticals, not one only. That's why he's killing his own argument. He cannot say that some means all but one. He cannot. In this instance, he cannot. So he's using wrong qualification.
He's the one that, you know, all he has to do is show one vertical not being parallel.
Yes, not.
Yeah.
But still, to have parallel, you have to have this, or let's say, original
He's got the Blue
vertical.
Marble Science team behind him. He could
Yes.
definitely do this. I mean, look at them all. They're all over the place, dying to show how wrong we are. And all they need to do is produce one vertical that isn't parallel to another vertical. And that's it. They've done. Like he says,
Yes.
Beddy, he's the top logician. He's sorted out the logic. His logic says, if level is horizontal, then all verticals are parallel. That's Beddy's logical statement. So he's throwing it out there to the Blue Marble Science team to say, let's go proof. Let's go with this Blue Marble Science proof.
Yes, and he needs only one. He needs Black Swan. Okay. So there is no need to say some verticals are not parallel. No need. Only one. He needs only one to prove that is not parallel, to disprove your statement.
Well, all verticals are parallel to the plane of the horizon. So I guess that does all of the ones that are parallel to the plane of the horizon, because all perpendiculars to a plane, perpendicular to the plane of the horizon. All perpendiculars to a plane will be parallel, won't they?
Yes, of course.
So if all of the perpendiculars to the plane of the horizon would be called vertical, and all perpendiculars to a plane would be parallel, then all of the verticals on the plane of the horizon would unfortunately logically be parallel to each other. So he can't use any of those. He'd need to use someone somewhere else. But
Yes,
it's got the entire body of blue marble science behind him.
yes. But, in order to that, he has to bend horizontal. But if he would bend horizontal, it means that there is no parallel lines, but no horizontal plane. And of course, you cannot have any one vertical being parallel to another, because it is not on the plane. So it is not vertical, in fact. If you cannot, I would say even, if you cannot have parallel to vertical, you cannot have even vertical, even one. Because this up-down is irrelevant now.
Well,
If
you
we
have to
are-
be able to have perpendicular to a straight line, can't you? I mean, that's
yes,
a
but
given from a straight line.
yes, but this line on the curved horizontal would not be vertical.
It would not be perpendicular.
Yes, yes, it would be parallel, but it would be not perpendicular and would be not vertical anymore. Just line, which is, of course, parallel to this previous vertical, but you cannot say that this another vertical is vertical, because it is not with curvy horizontal. So this is another, I would say, paradox, that you have parallel to vertical on their model, and you cannot say that this is vertical, because it is not, according to definition of their definition of vertical. So it is not vertical. Parallel to vertical is not vertical in their model.
That's a good point, because mathematically, parallel to is considered equal to, really. It's just in a different position, isn't it?
Yes.
In
So
fact,
equals,
if you think of an equal sign, happens to be two parallel lines.
yes. So
It's strange.
it means that equal is not equal.
Yeah.
Yes. So it defies first principles of logic.
Yeah, that seems to be like a stolen concept theme. I did see Wally trying to prove that he uses telescope sightings that other people made for him. He paid people to look through their telescopes, and apparently he seems to think that makes horizontals not parallel and also verticals not parallel. Paying people to measure angles for you. Wally's working hard for the Globe, Team Globe. Forever warrior. I think you get paid by the dimension, don't you, Wally?
Yes, because they are so pertinent. So I suspect that they are not doing this for free, because my patience would end.
I couldn't see the point in
imagine.
doing it if I was Wally. I mean, like, what's he doing? I think he's having a bit of a mental breakdown. I think most of them are. I think they're all getting, they're going through a midlife crisis, getting auto levels. I think they're all getting kitted up and blinged up with auto levels. We'll have a auto level spec off to see who's got the best equipment, the most accurate, setting accuracy, like a top trumps, auto level top trumps. Right, what else did I get? The Flat Earth Society have been out on Twitter. I think they're recruiting, right? They're noticing that there isn't enough flat earthers, obviously, being ridiculous and obviously not flat. We here like to talk about reality. And the Flat Earth Society are out there recruiting flat earthers by just going round telling people that they're flat earthers. I don't know, what was it called? By like in the Navy, where they used to just nobble people and take them on the fucking boat. Well, that's that, like these Flat Earth Society guys now. And this guy, Plato Chips. And Flat Earth Society. See now,
Wally saying that he replicated some measure. I don't know what he's talking about.
you're best off just to ignore Wally. He's a strange person. See, this is what I get whenever I go to on Twitter or whatever. I make a tweet or whatever, and these guys go and talk to other people and quote my stuff. He says he's from the Bev School of Argumentation. Just keep restating your assumption without evidence. And that is the if all horizontals are parallel to the plane of the horizon, then all horizontals are parallel to each other. But they think you need to have evidence of that, when they can just say, nuh-uh, to any sort of evidence of you showing that all horizontals actually are parallel to the plane of the horizon with zero slope. And if all horizontals are parallel to the plane of the horizon, then that makes the horizon, the true horizon over water, horizontal, which means, or would go with the natural law about water forming a horizontal plane. At rest, of course. But it's just a natural logical reasoning sort of thing. Everybody knows this sort of stuff. But as we know, one of the consequences, like Betty says in Globe Logic, obviously you can't get around it. If Betty said this, then everybody's free to say it, and it goes like this: if level is horizontal, then all verticals / plums are parallel. So from now on, everybody should know. That's the only thing that matters, really. Just, is level horizontal? Can you prove that level is horizontal? Does anybody have a way to prove that level's horizontal? Despite the fact that all known tools called levels are devices for establishing a horizontal plane. Does anybody actually know of any way to prove whether level might be horizontal or not?
My question is, if supposedly level, outer level, or water level is not establishing horizontal plane, so how surveyors and all this branch of industry which is dealing with drawings, technical drawings, how they could not recognize that something is wrong? Because if level is not establishing horizontal, whole measurement is off, should be off, and it isn't. So they would, I would say that they would recognize that something is wrong here. We have tool to establish horizontal plane, but we cannot do that because level is curving or what. But in fact, for like hundreds of years, people are doing that, and there is no problem here. So what's going on?
It's a conspiracy. The Blue Marble scientists have uncovered one of the greatest conspiracies known to man.
So conspiracy would be that surveyors know that that they are off, but they are hiding that information.
Yeah, all of the dictionaries are in on it too.
Oh yes, so this is very big. Yes, very
It's
big conspiracy.
huge. You'd be surprised how few people actually know about this. It's like they're all trying to, purposely not prove the globe. Or they're purposely trying to spite the Blue Marble scientists. Yeah, I don't know. So this is one of my tweets. I quite like this. This is me talking to the Flat Earth Society guys, saying no to the Flat Earth Society. I say, this is what the Flat Earth Society members act like. I'm not a flat earther, as I have proof the earth is not flat. I hold no contradictions on my globe. And then there's a guy called Roger Peachy. He goes by the name of Farmer's Boy. He is a Farmer's Boy. He says, flat earther daren't admit to being a flat earther, but promotes his flat earth model constantly. So that's why I say Flat Earth Society guy, because one paragraph, right? 3 flat earthers. You can't help but do it. He's trying to recruit, and I'm not having it. And M2M, I don't know who he is, another one of these Flat Earth Society guys says, but you are a flat earther, Bev tried thinking. And everybody knows you're lying, except you're the little repeating ducklings on your Discord channel. It's not my Discord channel, M2M. Shows how little they know. The very things you say daily proves it. By saying me, I'm definitely not a flat earther. Right? Everybody knows that, right, by now. Pretty sure. Apart from these conspiracy guys. Flat Earth Society. Trying to recruit members into the flat earther community. But I'm not having it. Never been part of the flat earth community. Go and ask the flat earthers. I'm definitely not a flat earther. We just live in reality. It's all a big, massive psyop. Please, Flat Earth Society guys, stop it. And then again, Flat Earth Society Farmer's Boy says, he's just a moronic attention whore, a flat earther and a liar. You think that's how they recruit people into it?
This is the same tactic as Baby with my statement about parallel lines. You are saying that you are not flat earther because you can prove it, and they say no, that makes you flat earther. So how can you discuss things with that kind of people? It is, I'm saying, impossible or very hard.
Yeah. Right, now, give me a minute to get this video, because this is why why I'm a little bit concerned about this. Because when I came into this with the level is horizontal statement, there was this comment, and particularly this guy. Listen to this to see what he says.
I'm saying, personally, I believe the things that you teach your child, your autistic child, is psychological child abuse.
Like that water is level.
No, you teach your child that level is a horizontal plane, which is not true.
Yes.
And the implication of that is that you are teaching your child the earth is flat.
No.
Yes.
There you go. The implications of saying level is horizontal, like Betty says, is that verticals are parallel. And Fight the Flat Earth says that means the Earth's flat, which it obviously doesn't, but that's Fight the Flat Earth says that. So the very implications of level being horizontal, you didn't hear, I mean, I don't teach my son that level is horizontal. I give him the way to know that for himself. I mean, it's hard work to try and come to a conclusion like that. But my son, like as he says, is autistic, and you can't lie to autistic kids. Well, I believe you shouldn't purposely lie to autistic kids. Because handing them a paralogism is one of the easiest things you could do. And you shouldn't do that to people. Especially not coming from a position of authority to teach something that you know is wrong. But I do know that level is horizontal. We have a proof. Literally. There's many proofs. Anyone can find their own proof that level is horizontal. We've gone one step further than that. We've done the realizing Euclid test, which builds upon that, but builds upon it advanced simplicity. It goes back to the foundations, shows you how you can know that a water level establishes a horizontal plane of reference through the understanding of logic and geometry. It's the only place where there is a real test to be done that has an actual proof. Make of that what you will. Let's see where the blue marble people take that. I'll say it again. I'll say it to anybody. We have a test that you can have that goes to the basics, the foundations of mathematics, the understandings of logic and geometry. That can be done in reality. Doesn't cost too much. Actual, real proof. And it will be getting refined. It'll get better and better. More and more exact as we do it more and more. And we've got plenty more tests to be able to do. But this one, the realizing Euclid test, is a very real mathematical proof that a water level establishes a plane, and at no point does any of that water level deviate from the plane. We call it realizing Euclid. And we will be going over that, making videos about it. In fact, most of my attention now is going to go to providing logical arguments for putting them on the website so anybody can access them for any particular type of debate that they want to be doing. These are actual arguments that you can present as arguments in debate. They won't be rebutted ever, and you'll probably be shunned from the community for even speaking about these logical arguments. True arguments. Real arguments. That I don't think many people, they're probably too challenging for most people to even consider for themselves, rather than being able to use them within debate. But there is a certain, I don't know, what would you call it, enigma that's going around that it's meant to be a little bit dirty to be able to say level is horizontal within this community. That's got to be the most fucking ridiculous thing anybody's ever heard. This tiny community of internet weirdos that have developed a nice tiny corner of the internet where they feel secure in being able to tell people who say that level is horizontal that they're flat earthers. And obviously the implications of that being that if you have any children, teaching them level is horizontal turns into, CA. And that's not to be taken lightly. But these people will feel free to say that to other people. They don't go around bother telling dictionaries that, like children can read dictionaries. So children could read that level is horizontal within a dictionary. A level is a tool for establishing a horizontal plane, and they may come to associate level, the tool, within a horizontal plane. But that would be bad if they ever came into a blue marble science thing. I mean, if they ever went to question people like Bob the Science Guy, well, Bob the Science Guy wouldn't have them as saying that level is horizontal, even though they've learnt it at school and perhaps surveying classes. In reality, people who live in reality, they're the ones that get gaslit by people like Bob the Science Guy, by people like Blue Marble Science, by people like Fight the Flat Earth. I think they're the only three that are worth talking about, but they do have websites. I don't know whether they have websites or not, but they do have YouTube channels where they portray an image to the outside world, where they make videos about other people, ridiculing them, teaching paralogisms to other people about a model, about their particular version of a model. I think it's ridiculous. It needs to end, and we just need to start being able to talk to each other. We've all got to feed ourselves, Gadget, however you do it. So I've got loads of videos to go over, but I don't know how to do it. How to set this up from here on in. I'm going to have to start... Whoa. Wally, let me get this. Again, this just shows how contradictory these people can be. Can everybody see that? Wally, being of not sound mind, obviously, states level is horizontal is fine. All verticals are parallel is provably not right. Wally doesn't understand logic. The logical statement that Betty made, Wally, is if level is horizontal, then all verticals are parallel. It's a if, then. You can't have one of them being okay and not the other one, you muppet, Wally. Have a word. Go back to school. Go and sit in the corner. Put your Betty hat on. I can't even imagine how stupid all of the ballers must be now. They'd be like, Wally, what do you do that for? He's so stupid, Wally. Who let Wally out again? Who gave him the permissions to type in the YouTube chat? We might get another one, Wally. We might get another message saying, please, can you stop Wally from typing in there? He's an embarrassment to us. Like last time, Wally. Somebody asked us to send, please, can you get Wally out of here? He's embarrassing. Saying so many stupid things. We'll probably be getting one of them. Has Emma had one of those already? Or are you keeping him in for fun? If then, Wally, is not a if, not then. Not that. Fucking hell. Are they not? They're not GIFs. Mobius, right? Get the GIFs out there. We have done extensive stuff on this, but I mean, it is bringing us back to where I began here, with a load of people challenging me to prove that level is horizontal, because they just said, "Nuh-uh, it can't be." So we did. We went to go and prove it, and it's obviously easy for anybody to be able to prove it for themselves. The hard one is to prove the antithesis, which is the nuh-uh, not that. Brenda, beginning Brenda to explain a contradiction. Brenda, I mean, come on. What's not a contradiction? Wally stating that level is horizontal is fine. So we get the if, that's okay. So that's a definite, right? With Wally's idea. If level is horizontal, well, that's fine. So it is. Then all verticals are parallel.
Yes, if antecedent is
right.
fine, if antecedent is fine, the consequent is fine also.
Yeah, but Wally's not having that. That's a contradictory if-then. You can't have an if-then if the if is true, but not the then.
Yes, so he's trying to deny only consequent. He wants to keep antecedent to be true, but he's denying implication, because of course consequent is implication, inevitable implication. So he is just denying causation, and causation is basic of thinking. So he is not thinking.
Yeah. And Brenda says it isn't a contradiction.
Maybe Brenda is right. It is just nonsense.
Yeah.
So,
Betty's nonsense or Wally's nonsense. It's hard to tell. I agree though, Brenda. Definitely nonsense. Probably from both of them. But Betty's if-then, if level is horizontal, then all verticals are parallel. Seems like a good premise to start an argument from. Let's see who can prove what. Because I say I can prove that level is horizontal. It should be quite easy. In fact, it is really easy, because proving things in reality that are actually in reality is dead easy. It's one of the easiest things you can do is prove reality. But I'm guessing, I don't know. I'm guessing, like, all of this fighting, I'm guessing you guys don't have level is horizontal on your globe. Do you not? I do. I have level being horizontal on my globe. I have all my horizontals being parallel to the plane of the horizon, making all horizontals parallel to each other on my globe. Anybody else wanting to come in and come out as having parallel horizontals on their globe? Remember the premise, tis globe. Then anything in reality is tis globe. And that's how you can prove tis globe. Anything that happens in reality also happens tis globe. Therefore, tis globe. If all A's are B's, if all tis globes are proof of tis globe, then some tis globes are definitely tis globe. And all tis globes together as a whole can be a tis globe.
Maybe with the talent of Booster, we should employ Booster to create tis globe lullaby.
Yeah.
For globers.
Sermon, I think. It definitely deserves a tis globe sermon. They'd be really opening to that, I think. Ode to the monad. Can I get a tis globe for that one? Obviously not. Tis globe! I'll get some t-shirts done. Brenda will have a few of them. I got a t-shirt, I think. Let me get this. There you go. Come on. You like that one? I call that the perspective t-shirt. Would you buy one of them, Brenda?
Parallel and perpendicular on curved surface are not parallel, sadly.
I don't know, Kevin. You'll have to have a consensus. See what everybody thinks. No, there's a one for Emma. I'll put a thumbs up here. Boom. Anyone else? Anyone trying to override us? Got a vote going on in the Discord.
Brenda's gone.
Oh dear. Wally says he's told us that level is horizontal is a perfectly acceptable local thing. So the if then that Betty's set up. I'll get it back up again, put it up there for everybody to see. There we go.
However.
See, though, he says easy. If level is horizontal, then all verticals are parallel. Well, Wally is confirming the if level is horizontal, he says that's okay, then the consequent of that antecedent would be that all verticals are parallel. But Wally's going against Beddy's logic and saying, yes, we can have the antecedent, but no, Beddy, you're wrong. You can't have the consequent. There you go. Beddy, fix your guys out. You've not been teaching logic well enough. Did you miss out talking to Wally about logic? Please get that on Blue Marble Science. Please, Beddy. Do a Blue Marble Science logic. Basic logic. Go back to the fundamentals. Please talk to the mixologists about logic. Or if you can't talk to them, come over here and have a chat with us. We'll talk about logic. The fundamentals, the basics. Right, I've got let me... Oh. Website. Was, oh yeah, it was in the logic bit, wasn't it? Right, now I've been working on, like I say, these logical arguments on the website. Can you guys see that?
I can.
Okay, so now this is an if-then that I set up for, particularly for Beddy and Blue Marble Science. And this, I call this one the Enthymeme. Oh yeah, what's going to do that? I'll get round to that in a minute. Should I do that one? No, we'll do this first, and then we can come back to it if we need to. So this one, the art of logos. It goes, if plumb is vertical and vertical is a straight line, obviously, they're two givens, but it starts the premise off with the if, just to let everybody know that, you know, we are dealing with a plumb being vertical and vertical being a straight line. Then perpendicular, see definition 10 below, to plumb must be a plane. Now, work through us logically with this. If plumb is a straight line, then perpendicular to that straight line would be in a 360 degree all the way around. It's a plane. It's not just a line because it's plumb. It's a line in reality, has a plumb bob at the bottom of it. It's a piece of string. So the plane perpendicular to that must be a plane in order for it to be perpendicular at all points, right? You don't just say at one point. You can't weasel out with it. It includes the entire plane that is perpendicular to the vertical or plumb. Can I get an agreement on that? Just to...
Yes, sure.
That's good.
Just blatant statement.
Okay, yeah, I know, but I mean, we're laying down this if-then as a simple piece of logic for people to use. So, corollary, Proposition 6, Book 11, states that if two straight lines be at right angles to the same plane, they shall be parallel to one another. So therefore, from the two statements, level must be horizontal, perpendicular to plumb, and horizontal is a plane with all perpendiculars to it being parallel. All from that one vertical. Work through it. Falsify it. Take it away. Come back to me. Falsify it. Bring an argument in rebuttal to it if you want. Or accept it and take it as your own argument. Try and disprove it and use that as your proof. There you go. There's the when a straight line standing on another straight line. Move it around a bit. When a straight line standing on another straight line makes the adjacent angles equal to one another, each of the angles is called a right angle, and the straight line which it stands on the other is called a perpendicular to it. Just the basics, the foundations of mathematics. That's all we're dealing with here. Plenty of propositions. If two straight lines be parallel, and one of them be at right angles to a plane, the other shall also be at right angles to the same plane. That'd work with a vertical plane and horizontals, or a horizontal plane and verticals. It's all in a lovely little logic book called The Elements, which proves logically, geometrically, how a logical process works. So this is on this one's on the Level website. Oh, you can't see it, can you? On the Level. Says it on the top of all of them now. Thank you very much for those. We sorted the website out today. And there will be more stuff on this. This logic part isn't actually opened up just yet. I'll need to tidy it up a bit. Back to Discord. So that was an argument that I made for Blue Marble Science. For this particular argument about horizontal plane, and them thinking that level sorts of deviates from horizontal because of something that they've seen on a YouTube video. Took a screenshot from a YouTube video and seemed to be making a massive deal out of it. But I mean, only in private in the Blue Marble Science server. They've got a team of Blue Marble scientists. Seems to be against me and you paper at the minute. Hardcore time. But they go after that. Anybody that states and shows and sees a contradiction within the model, rather than accepting it, they have to fight it as though it's not globe.
Yes, but they fight with misquoting. They they are trying to add something. So if you are saying that vertical is perpendicular to horizontal, they will add at a point. You didn't say at a point. You said just perpendicular, but they are adding at a point to make a strawman argument, or pseudo argument, impossible argument to not say that this horizontal is in reality, in their reality, has to be curved. They cannot say that, but they are saying at a point. Implication of that is that horizontal is curved. But you didn't say that. They are adding something, or they are omitting something like baby, quoting my statement. So there are two types of, let's say, lying or deceiving. By omission, in that case, which would be in my case, or by adding something that you didn't say. So we can exercise now two different ways, by omission and by addition.
Darren's come back. I don't know whether he swapped accounts from one of the other ones or whether this is a different Darren. But he says, you need to establish level is planar to use that logic.
It would mean first, I think, that he wanted to. I guess. But still...
I don't want to misquote him, right? I'll get called for doing all sorts of horrible things for assuming that he meant something. You're best off just reading exactly what they say.
Yes, but still, if my correction is true, I assume it is true, because otherwise this word doesn't make any sense. So I have right to correct obviously incorrect word or part of the word. And then it is burden of proof on him to say that this fair is not fair first, but something else.
He has. He's put first. It was first.
But still, no, he is not right, because you can create level or horizontal with plumb line, as you showed this proof on the level. So you are using plumb bob and perpendicular to plumb bob, and this is horizontal. Therefore, it is level.
Yeah, he agrees now. Darren says, paper, we agree on that. The level being horizontal. So that was easy. Well done. Darren agrees. If plumb is perpendicular to level, or level is perpendicular to plumb, I guess it works both ways. And plumb is vertical, and vertical is perpendicular to horizontal, then they're both have the same relationship to the same thing. You know what that means? A is equal to B, and B is equal to C. Then A is equal to C, one of the basics. He agrees on the typo as well. It's like you've got a mutual commonality. What about if we can show that all horizontals are parallel? Darren, wouldn't that show that all horizontals are parallel? Or that, what about if we show that level is horizontal? That they're the same thing? Because that's all we were talking about, was level being horizontal. I can't see why people say you have to show something different when the idea was just to show that level is horizontal.
But if level is horizontal and horizontal is obviously straight line, it means that level is straight line or plane also. Therefore, all verticals will be parallel to each other on that level plane.
Darren says that you can't show all horizontals are parallel. Can't do it geometrically somehow. I'm pretty sure we can get Saragaki to... well, I don't know whether he's actually done it or not. But I bet we could get Saragaki to alter his perpendicular proof to prove that the horizontals are parallel through extension of perpendicular. I mean, it's perfectly set up for a geometric proof. And yeah, you could easily prove that if one horizontal was perpendicular to a vertical, then all of the horizontals would be parallel to that one. That would easily be provable geometrically. Yeah, we can, Darren, I don't know whether you've ever seen the Realizing Euclid test. We will be doing that, doing it a full series of them. Realizing Euclid. Coming from the logic and the build up to it and the proofs of the test. A water level is a device for establishing a horizontal plane of reference. Yes, Darren. That is one of the premises that we start off with. You can check that for yourself anywhere. Go and ask anyone. Like, what would the answer be? Yes, it is. A water level is a tool for establishing a horizontal plane of reference. Yes. So that's that, Darren. That's sorted. Once we all can agree that a water level is a tool for establishing a horizontal plane of reference, then we can carry on. Well, I mean, we've already done the test, but you know, in our proofs to go forward with, that is a base assumption. Does anybody have any problems with us using a water level for a device to establish a horizontal plane of reference? Anyone here? I mean, I know the members and all of that are helping us out, and the Patreons obviously give us a bit, and that gives us the chance to do these tests. So they're the only people that I'm really fussed about. So I would like to know if they are okay with us saying that a water level is a device for establishing a horizontal plane of reference.
I am okay. I have nothing against that.
Thank you.
I cannot have, because if we have two ends of water level, you have straight line between two ends. You can't imagine curved line, but why? Why you can imagine? Why someone should imagine curved line between two ends of water level?
Yeah, Darren, it sounds like you should come in and have a chat. How far apart were the points? 100 meters. 5 points each. 2 water levels. 100 meters between each point. We got 5, Darren. But 2 water levels, each with 5. So that's 10. 10 points. Darren. Much further than, what was it, the guy who may or may not live in Maine. We went way further than that. I'm going to really like this. We've literally done the test, sorted it out, got the logic, got the diagrams, got the proof, got it all in a nice, neat little package. And people like Darren are telling us that we need 3 points. He thinks we need 3 points. So he's already thought about it himself, a water level. He's got an idea what he thinks is going to happen.
Yes, he's going for a hump in the middle. Yes, we need a hump in the middle. Okay.
How did you establish they were in a plane? They were in a plane because of geometric reasoning, logic. I might take you through it sometime, Darren, or you can wait to watch the video. Up to you. You might even be able to help us make the video. Take you through the 12 basic principles and then show you how we derived the actual geometric test. And then we can show you how we replicated the actual geometric test in reality. It's good you can do it yourself. You can get a few blue marble scientists straight up there. And we can do globe. Obviously, Euclid wrote all of the foundations of mathematics into a book, The Elements. We use the elements to prove the geometry, to prove that the geometry, well, it obviously does. I mean, he did it in reality. They proved it before they put it in the book. They wouldn't have wrote it down as a logical process if it weren't proved. So we just replicate it. We realize that logic from that book of old into reality. We make it real as it is. And as everybody knows, anything that happens in the real is tis globe. So when we showed that all of the points lay within a plane and not diverting from that plane, that's how we know that a level is horizontal. And horizontal is a plane. Exactly what Darren asked for. We prove through geometry and logical thinking, Darren, that the water levels, when combined, have a shared straight line segment extending the plane geometrically, just like you asked for. I need to start working on my graphics and how to actually graphically represent the test. I can do it in drawings for myself. I'll perhaps have to do that. Draw it out. Yeah, Darren, have you not prepared a recording for us that we could play? Come in and come and Tis Globe with us. I'm saving it for tomorrow. Free for all Friday. Come and Tis Globe about how we maybe we might differ between our globes. Maybe your globe's a little bit different. Maybe you can't see the contradictions where we just sort of go, there's a contradiction. I don't have contradictions on my globe. But some people do. Some people have contradictions on their globes. It's all shape-based, I think. If you go with the epoche and don't imply a shape to your globe, then you don't really need to employ contradictions. But if you employ a shape, then there will be contradictions placed in there that you're just going to have to accept. Model-based contradictions. And it depends whether you think logic is more important or whether the model's more important. Which one weighs more, logic or monad? I go with logic and reasoning. There's a lot of people nowadays, I don't think they use the logic. I think they go with the shadow giants, handed down paralogisms, where you don't really need to think. There's no thought process that goes along with it. It's just, I'll go along with that. Repeat it. Repeat the mantra. It is globe. And you'll be fine. Is Darren in here as well? No, they're not, are they? Sugar Karen's talking to people that aren't going to come back in. He had a date planned with Brenda, and I think Brenda stood him up.
Brenda was here to explain to us real logic, because we, of course, don't understand logic and how to convey argument. So,
yeah, I think it's called fallacious logic, isn't it? It's a special brand of blue marble science logic. Betty's been teaching them at the minute with Brenda.
Guys, I would appreciate it if you didn't bring this out into the open about Brenda and me, like ditching me and not having enough balls to do it to my face. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I know. No balls. Well, obviously. Maybe.
Oh. I mean, how am I supposed to know?
We open for a bit of a... Sorry, I don't want to...
I mean, she left his flip-flops at my weekend loft, and I can't use them. They're too big for me, so... I don't know, I'm a mess about it.
We've got a bit of a special that we had prepared earlier. Blue Marble is reciting the Blue Marble logic. I might play that out at the end if I can get it ready. Are we back on Discord? Yeah. I'll just put it together. Yeah, so as I say, I'm going to be putting these arguments together. Obviously, nobody is ever going to rebut any of these arguments. These will be the unrebuttable arguments. So if anybody's got any arguments you think are particular topics that certain people have strayed away from, then come in. Let us know about these arguments, whatever you think they are, and we can work over them. The idea of an argument is that something that must be discussed to try and refine it to make them better.
Apparently, some people.
By the way, I was hoping that maybe you'd be able to reach out to Darren for me and see if he can get a hold of him. About those flip-flops. You know what I'm saying?
Does Darren know Brenda?
I think so.
Darren, if you're out there, can you put a reach out to Brenda for sugar cookie? He's not taking it too well. Come back for a sugar cookie, Brenda. He thought you were getting somewhere. But apparently not. The Blue Marble Science have been a little bit quiet recently. But that's hardly surprising, as they haven't got anybody with any arguments. Other than, I think they've got a picture that they've got off the internet somewhere that they'll be analysing. Obviously over 200 hours before they're allowed to put it out. That's the rules.
Will they count all pixels in the picture, or half of pictures, half of pixels?
The
Because,
pixel counters.
yes, that would be interesting. What you can do with the picture, like counting pixels.
What do you reckon to this one, Wally? He says, Bev, you realise you were the Muppet. Betty gave you an example of a contradiction. If level is horizontal, then all verticals are parallel. That, according to Wally, is a contradiction.
No, this is geometrical implication, so cannot be contradiction.
Yeah, that's not a contradiction, Wally. Implying something afterwards makes a contradiction, but only makes a contradiction if the statement is true in the first place. If the if statement is true, then one of the things, the resulting things, has to be a contradiction. Wally, don't think you understand logic. What Wally wants the logic to say is, if level is horizontal, then all verticals will diverge. I think that would be okay for Wally as a logical statement. But it's not. It's false.
Also, it is impossible. Impossible implication.
It doesn't follow, does it?
Even more.
Complete non sequitur.
Because we are talking about perpendicular. So it has to follow in certain way. And only one way. So being perpendicular means that we are dealing with two straight lines being in a specific relation or orientation to each other. So there is only one implication of that. So saying that it would result with diverging, which the only implication is that they would be parallel, is just, of course, it is non sequitur, but it is just stupid to say that.
Yeah, there are logical propositions within Euclid to back up what we say. We don't just say these things. There are proofs, multiple proofs to back this stuff up. We don't just say them. They're not just words. That's where the blue marble scientists get confused. And maybe if anybody else is listening, I'd advise you not to bother listening to the blue marble scientists. Come in here. We'll be able to explain all of the proofs that we have to back this up from first principles. Right from the beginning. Like paper says there, it all goes back to a straight line. A straight line implies the plane. The plane implies the perpendicular. Perpendicular goes to the straight line. They both prove each other, the plane and the perpendicular. In fact, it's the perpendicular that makes the plane to start off with. Then you can have perpendicular to the plane, which is your third dimension.
And parallel, because perpendicular implies also parallel. So
yeah,
it's,
they're both
vertical-
inexplicably linked, aren't they? You can't have one without the other.
Yeah,
Perpendicular or parallel, they both come together.
together, yeah.
But like as we say, there aren't many people that can talk about this sort of thing. People like to hear, I don't know, distracting sort of things. They keep their mind flitting from one topic to another, rather than focusing in on something. What we do here is sort of go back to the simplicity. We go backwards to understand the why, hopefully, or where it came from, right from the beginnings to the words. Thank you, Raven, taking us back to the organon, back to the trivium, seeing how these things are formulated from nothing. You know, the geometry gives us the understanding. Logic also derives back from that one word, the original thing. How do you start the reasoning process? Where does that come from? That's how far back we go with our conversations. So don't let any of the blue marble scientists put you off from coming and having a conversation. And if you are a blue marble scientist, don't be scared. We don't want to be combative with our globes. Our globes may differ slightly. I probably think it may be contradiction based, and finding out contradictions are somehow troubling to some people. Whereas I think it's a building experience. Experiencing a contradiction that you hold is challenging. It makes you rethink things. It's like the phoenix. You have to break stuff down. You have to get rid of that old one and work out where the contradiction is and which is the truth and where is the truth, and releasing one of those things that you held as a truth that wasn't. Because obviously you can't have contradictions. Oh, well, I don't have contradictions. Maybe you don't have contradictions, or maybe you do have contradictions. It's no problem. Accepting contradictions is a modern life sort of thing. A lot of people have been taught to be able to accept contradictions, or at least compartmentalize them, keep them separate. So, again, we are sorry if somebody opens one of those doors and allows them contradictory thoughts or ideas to be able to meet. No harm is meant by that, but like I say, I consider that as a learning, a growth experience. Tis globe. No need to get threatened by it. No need to get threatened by a globe. A globe is just a mental construct of what happens in reality, as far as I can guess. You can imagine it any shape you want it to be. But as long as you go along with what actually happens in reality, if you depart from reality on your globe, then you're starting to live in fantasy land. You may end up in a mental home. Because you've got to have reality on your globe model. And that may be why the blue marble scientists are getting upset. Because they're going with the blue marble model. And it may induce a few contradictions. Now, that's okay if you're okay with it. I'm okay with you living with contradictions. I know that. So, I don't know where to go, but this channel, my channel, obviously, it is run from on the level server. We will be doing a lot of things, but me personally, I'm very interested in the logic and exposing sophistry. So, like I say, I'm up for debate. I'm up for testing myself within all of this sort of stuff. I will be going out and testing the optics. Like I say, my son's got a photography art course, so we will be doing a lot more of that sort of stuff. That will be promoted by me, obviously. I want to promote what my son does. The Discord server that we have here is a gaming server. We have servers on a few different games now. That will be getting promoted a lot more. So if you want to come and do a bit of gaming, have a bit of a release, get away from the weird reality that we seem to be dealing with, just get away from it for a bit. It may be a bit hard for a lot of people. They do seem obsessed with this arena. Reality, I think that's where we're at. We deal with reality. Now, if people are obsessed about the shape of something, then fair enough. I'm not too particularly bothered. What I like to do here is go back to the basics, the simple things. Maybe some things that people they don't realize. The strength that people have. And how logic can be used. And it is used. Most people use it every day for doing a multitude of things. Now, you can use it for more purposes than that. It's mainly used to keep your thoughts in check. You don't want to be going off into fantasy land. Keep in reality, and that's the way. Anybody else got anything else to say?
I would only say that yes, logic is cutting off their fantasy. So that's why I think some people are turning into mythologists, because
The level server.
it's just cutting off their fantasy script. So not good. So I think that would be psychological explanation why some people don't like logic.
Like we say, logic does
I-
come through geometry. Who's that, Brian? Brian?
Sorry.
Was that you? Okay, sorry. I think your mic's a little bit off.
Yeah, let me see. Hold on.
That sounds okay. It's better now.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, I just did a video. I posted it. I'll put it in the text, but it had I wasn't even looking for it, but I found MC Toon. He was on an airplane. He was talking about the moon, and he had like one of them theodolite apps in his phone, and he is showing that like the moon's underneath it. So I was just kind of disregarding the moon. I didn't care to look into that, but I heard him say something, and it caught my attention. I thought you might be interested because he's saying now the moon is underneath the horizon of and he said it's underneath the true level, and he kind of stuttered in this video, and he's like that it's the what's called, then he repeats and says what's called the true level. So I mean, even them, they acknowledge that a horizontal line is true level. I mean, and then so they just flip flop whenever they're talking about one thing. They say that level is curved, and then in their next breath they're going to say that true level is the horizontal line out in front through an instrument or a theodolite app. And then one other thing I showed in this video, I showed the Al-Biruni test at the main surveyor, and he disappeared after. I mean, I ain't heard from him. I'm not sure if y'all have, but he I did a little look at the Al-Biruni test and the numbers because they're pretty pathetic. And when you look in detail, and I was making a point that the horizon does rise to eye level. It doesn't rise to a zoomed in eye level. In other words, when we zoom in and use these instruments, that little gap where the crosshairs are normally sitting on the horizon, barring any bad refraction. And when you zoom in, you get a bigger gap the more and more you zoom in. So I put in the video that the eye level doesn't rise to zoomed in horizon. So that was a lot. If you want to comment on any of that.
Yeah, I will. It doesn't rise to level once you put a level there, the tool. The horizon doesn't rise to that. It can't do because parallels don't rise. But the field of view does rise, but the horizon never rises to a level because the level establishes an even altitude, and therefore it's always above the horizon.
That's a good way to put it, and I kind of got that point across. But the only thing let's see, I don't really disagree with any of that. So I would say I agree with that. And that would you agree that when we zoom in, the bigger the apparent gap between
Yes,
horizontal,
because you are a magnifying image. That's it.
Yeah, thank you, man. Because that's what they try to do. Like they'll show us this big drop, and then I'm looking at the Al-Biruni test, and over all this distance, the drop from level with professional equipment is less than 2 arc minutes. So what they're calling drop and measuring as a radius is basically like 1/40th of 1 degree. That's what they're with the unaided eye, 1/40th of 1 degree. Which is,
2 arc
basically
seconds
discernible.
2 arc seconds is less than that.
Yeah, well, it's less than 2 arc seconds, so I'm figuring. I figured
that's 1,800th.
I mean, I'm sorry, minutes. I'm sorry, I meant to say arc minutes, bro.
Yeah.
My fault. I meant to say arc minutes. It was less than 2 arc. Most of his readings were less than 2 arc minutes, which puts it at about between 1/30th and 1/40th of 1 degree, and they try and use that to discredit flat Earth, which I'm a flat earther, so in my opinion, that's BS.
So would you say that level being horizontal by implication means that it go with Beddy's if then, right? Beddy, have you heard of Beddy, the globe logician? He says if level is horizontal, then all verticals are parallel. And as Fight the Flat Earth says, if you say that water is level and that level is a horizontal plane, then you're a flat earther. What would you say to that? That logical statement.
I'd say that might make you even a child abuser, man. Maybe, man, if you think like that.
How many child abusers do you think that would make?
No, I'm just teasing. Zero, man. That guy's a nutbag.
Well, I'm saying if they're the implications, right? If level is horizontal, then all verticals are parallel, and by implication, you can then say that anybody who says that is a flat earther, right? That's flat Earth. You know, they imply that level being horizontal, they can backtrack it to being flat Earth. How many flat Earth do you think there would be?
I suppose that depends on your definition of flat Earth.
Well, that's that's their definition. I'm not making that definition. That's what they're saying. They're saying that if you say level is horizontal, then you're a flat earther. That's not me. I'm not saying that. That's the guys that say that. Man. I think because that's why they say they think I'm a flat earther, even though I say I'm not. But they say the implications of level being horizontal means that you are a flat earther.
I defend you, man. I tell them, everything you do by definition, by strict mathematics, geometry, and you're not going to hold a title of something that's not true, something you can prove wrong. So I accept the title but I never really thought about it. If I could go back in time, I would join, but I've been a humble flat earther for too long to kind of go back on it now. But I like your stance, man. I defend it.
Okay, well, I mean, let's just take it. I mean, like I say, I'm not against anyone. I'm friends with a lot of people, and people can be globers, people can be flat earthers, people can be flat earth globers, right? It doesn't make any difference to me. We just talk about the arguments. What I'm pointing out here is that if this statement that Beddy's made, Beddy is one of the globe logicians, he's the head globe logician. He's studied it. I think he's wrote books on it. He's even taught it in colleges and universities. I think that's what he said. So I've definitely got more experience within logic. And he says, if level is horizontal, then all verticals are parallel. And by implication, if all verticals are parallel, then that's a flat Earth.
But that doesn't make the Earth flat, though, man. So I feel you. But I wanted to say one thing before I forget. I had to throw a shout out to you and Buster, because after McToon said that horizontal line on the crosshairs is true level, like he specified that it's true level, I had to throw in a little snippet from Rick and Morty, true level, bitch. I had to throw that in, so I want to give you a shout out for that.
Nice.
You might want to check out that clip in that video. I'll post it in live text here shortly, man. But I'm with you on the flat Earth. Like if horizontal is level, that doesn't make the Earth flat. It makes all the verticals parallel, I believe. But
but they say if all of the verticals are parallel, then that's flat Earth. Right? So that's why they can't have verticals being parallel. But if you go along with it, the question to you is that if level is horizontal, and the implication is that verticals are parallel, and that is reality, what would the implications be for reality? And how many people do you imagine would be unaware of those implications?
a lot. I'd say the majority of people. If you're just saying what I think you're saying, even by their vocabulary, they say it all the time. They slip.
It's not me. It's Betty. Remember, you've got to
no,
remember this is Betty
was,
that's taking logic to the blue marble science community.
I thought I was misunderstanding you, man. I thought you were saying like people who've never heard the topic. So I thought I might have been misunderstanding you. But I will say this, like when they're talking definitions, like even McToon, even these hardcore ballers, all the blue marble scientists, they slip all the time. And they when they're talking about level and horizontal, they say it all the time. And then blue marble science, not last time we talked, it's been a minute, but he made the claim, I think I told you this before, but he claimed that he's never, and it's recorded, it's in one of his videos, that he never claimed that level's horizontal, and he don't know any ballers who've ever claimed that level's horizontal.
Yeah, that was Rumpus. That was Rumpus, I think.
Oh, was it Rumpus? Well, if it was, apologize to Blue.
Yeah, well, it was Blue that said there is no horizontal in nature. Even though the horizon, or the true horizon, is deemed as being horizontal by the military dictionary.
Bev, let me stop you right there. I'm going to go draw a circle and wait for the ice cream truck.
Thank you, Blue.
Can you repeat that?
That was Blue. Just going to go and draw a circle and wait for the ice cream truck.
Draw a circle and wait for the ice cream truck?
Yeah.
Okay.
He's always drawing circles, is Blue. He loves them. Spherical circles. Not the non-zero, not the curve ones. The non-zero curve circles. As famous with the blue marble scientific method.
You don't mean the kind of circles where you can draw 540-degree squares on, do you?
I'll show you. Have you? I don't know whether you're aware of all of the ongoings, because a lot of people don't bother coming round and they don't listen to us. So there's you do tend to miss out on a few of these things. And Blue Marble's been coming up with some amazing proofs. In the live chat, there you go. That's Blue Marble, showing you how all elevations have parallel horizontals, and that's why Blue Marble's proof that circles are straight. Were you aware of that? I'm being serious. That I'm not made that up. Nobody's made that up. Blue Marble has literally got a diagram to show you how circles are straight. So that's when it does like to draw the non-zero circles. Non-zero curve circles.
Yeah, in their world, and I am very aware that they think that circles, especially like great circles, are straight lines in their reality, but not in actual reality. That's ridiculous. But I am very aware they think that, and they literally call circles. God, the more we talk about it, the stupider it sounds, bro. I'm just being honest.
Yeah, it doesn't really need talking about, does it? Because it's that stupid. I think what we should be doing is try and talk about reality as much as possible. And then when the Blue Marble scientists come in, let them talk about their model and just see how much it purports to reality that you've been talking about. If you try and leave their model away. Sorry.
Bev, yes, I do know it's February. Okay.
Yes,
We need to do
February.
dude, we need to put together all our videos, make little short clips, and just make nothing will really help, but it's worth a try, and it's worth the entertainment to put all, because you have a nice compilation of their contradictions, and just get them all, the whole team of them, the whole gamut, and just start just flooding them with their own contradictions. I mean, there are so many, but it's few and far between, because they're very careful in what they say. But then when they're talking, they can't avoid reality, and so there's no avoiding them eventually contradicting themselves, or else just pleading the fifth or pleading silence or something. So we make a compilation video of just a whole gamut and onslaught of them contradicting themselves, and throw it at them and see what kind of response we get. Probably none. Probably not. Probably call us stupid for them contradicting themselves.
They can't see contradictions. I don't know whether you've noticed that. They can't see their own contradictions, because obviously you're not allowed to have contradictions in reality. So they have to find some way to dismiss it or accept it. And I call that process the blue marble scientific method of how they justify contradictions in many different ways. And that's what we're going to be doing a study on. We've already started global antinomies, Brian. Global antinomies are the contradictions that must occur for the globe model to be. It's sort of like I don't know. It's like a globe acceptance sort of thing. It's like a ritual where these are the contradictions that you have to accept. There's no way around it.
Okay.
On the I don't know whether you call it the fundamental globe or the blue marble scientific globe, but if the rules are 'tis globe, then anything that happens in reality must be 'tis globe. But
so
contradictions, the shape.
I'm sorry for. I was going to say that not only so what I just mentioned, you've not only you're already on that, working on that, and not only, and you've even like to the point of naming it, like you've seen it so many times. You've got enough examples where you've actually named it. So kudos, bro. I'll give you props for that.
I'll tell you this, Brian. You cannot have a globe without contradictions. The whole entire model is built upon contradictions. So there will always be a contradiction. And if you don't find a contradiction, then it's likely it's reality and not globe. So the finding of a contradiction is the proof of a globe.
Wait, okay, so antinomy. How do we word an antinomy? So is there any way to make like what McToon just said? Like, or is that him actually, because he said, he doesn't adhere to this, okay? He said that true level, he's pointing to the crosshairs, the horizontal crosshairs on his instrument, and he calls it twice. He calls it true level. So that's not an antinomy. That's just him like joining reality for a split second, or what would you call that?
Yeah, if he's pointing to a horizontal and calling it true level, then he's saying the truth of level is horizontal.
That's blasphemy, though, for the blue marble scientist, ain't it?
Well, you should point out to him, yeah. If level is horizontal, it's Beddy's logic. If level is horizontal, then all verticals are parallel. So if McToon is saying the true level is horizontal, then by implication, logical implication, you can say that all verticals, he's saying all verticals are parallel, which is blasphemous in his own, to his own.
What if at the end, though, Bev, what if at the end you mumble that it's technical jargon? What if you mumble that after putting emphasis on it, that it is true level twice? Is it okay if you then just mumble that that's technical jargon?
Yeah, I mean, like me personally, if the rules are everything in reality is globe, then on my globe, I do have level as being horizontal.
Yeah, I guess my globe too. I'm gonna have to join you. I guess.
Yeah, then you can just discuss.
Straight lines are straight, right?
Yeah, all you have to do then is discuss your globe with other people. Like, they have their globe. You know, why can't you discuss globe with them? I mean, what's up with
we
that?
have our globe, bro. So in my globe, straight lines have no curve.
That's it. Yeah, that's how you work it. Yeah, that's how you do it.
That's funny, dude. I'll talk about our globe.
Yeah, a globe is just a mental construct of what you imagine the world to be.
Our globes aren't that very dissimilar, man. Our globes are almost the same. They're pretty close, man.
Yeah.
My globe's a little different than their globe. That's good, bro. That's classic.
It's all in reality, right? That's how you do it. Take it on. Yeah, I saw McToon. Yeah. He's been. I keep away from him. He's a bit. I don't know. Of all of the people, I mean, I think McToon's a bit one of the dodgiest. It reminds me of Brenda. I go like, ooh, like a shudder.
Yeah, I wouldn't put him quite on that level, but yeah, lately, like I've watched and went back and seen some of his things, and man, he just ain't. I'm starting to feel like he's blatantly dishonest. You know, even I'm not talking about when he's speaking of his model and all that. Like he's made some claims that I feel like he should recant, or he's just blatantly being dishonest.
Has he ever done a stream with Brenda? Have you ever seen McToon and Brenda?
He corrected Brenda. Oh, you mean seen them together?
Mm-hmm.
Actually, no, I have not. But he just corrected Brenda.
Have you ever seen McToon and Jesse Kozlowski together?
Oh man, Emma made that point the other day that they saw. I have not. To answer your question, no, I most certainly have.
And what about
not that I can recall.
Have you ever seen Brenda and Jesse Kozlowski together?
Absolutely not.
Mm-hmm. Three-way. They like it in threes, don't they?
That's funny, man. I think that Professor Bryant, the guy who's kind of new and acted like he was open to a conversation and then wound up being a blue marble scientist with Jaron and Austin and them guys, I think that I think that's Zanuck. So I had to figure out who the third person is in that trio by that logic.
Moyoc. Moyoc, man.
I don't know, man. I don't have his. I've probably heard him a million times, but I don't have his voice in my head. I can't recall it perfectly.
But
that's funny. Emma pointed out, bro, that Brenda and Jesse, man, they do sound alike, man. I had to give her that.
Well, if you see Brenda, you tell her I'm looking for her, okay? I mean, tell him I said hi.
Or Jesse. I saw you looking at him.
Dude, have you talked to has anybody heard anything from Jesse or the main surveyor? Anybody? Like anybody on the panel, maybe? I mean, somebody must have heard from these guys.
Blue Marble talks to him, apparently. And I think Doofus, Manfred, he came around, about the same sort of time that the main surveyor disappeared. Maybe just a coincidence. But, hey, try talking about surveying and see whether Doofus pops up.
I was thinking, man.
He does sound like him as well, Do you hear Doofus talking much?
Yeah, I hear him. Maybe a little similar, but not as similar as Jesse and Brenda. That's funny, bro. That's flat out funny. The accent, the dialect kind of their. It's funny, man. That's pretty funny.
Why do you reckon that Jesse and the main surveyor aren't really around anymore? Why do you reckon that is?
Because they've got some splaining to do, man. But real quick before I forget, like Brenda, like I've heard her sometimes. Like if you get her mad, boy, she pipes in, boy. She turns it, boy. She loses that voice, and she'll start cussing you out. Like we gotta have a talk. Like like you get her mad, boy. She changes, boy. That there's like devils in her eyes. Went back and looked at some things. She cursing out Ranty and cursing out like right the hand. Like she gets boiling hot, and her aggression comes out, her testosterone. She's, you son of a bitch. We gotta have a talk.
I tell you, Brian, I don't know why she stood me up. I already told her she could eat our firstborn. And so, you know, kind of beat up about it.
I'll tell her to get a hold of you. We gotta have a talk, you son of a bitch.
That's not fair talking about Brenda like that. But, hey, we've not banned... Well, we did ban Brenda's account, but it seems like Brenda's made another sock account exactly the same as her old account. And come back in with that one. So, that's why we don't actually hear Brenda anymore.
Yeah, she knows I'm just joking, dude. She mucks with me sometimes. She knows I'm playing, dude. That shit was funny, bro. I don't care who you are. If you didn't at least get a chuckle out of that, bro, something's wrong with your attitude. Because, man, I'm telling you, man, she gets mad, and she's going to tell you we got to have a talk. Get that testosterone flowing. You just got to get her worked up a little bit.
They think it's funny to say people are liars, these people. I don't know whether you've noticed that as well. No doubt, the Blue Marble scientists, they play a different game. I don't know whether you're aware of this, Brian, but they think it's funny to say stupid shit to you and then get you to explain their stupid shit.
Yeah, that's crazy, man. That and they project a lot, dude. They'll take one example and try and pin it on me or somebody else and act like that makes up for them constantly doing it by projecting one little thing on me. But to me, if you're wrong and you find out you're wrong about whatever it may be, not you personally, Bev, but like me or anybody else, maybe you, whoever, and you find out you're wrong and then you correct yourself, then you're not a liar. You're honest and you're humble, and you're not a know-it-all. You don't always have to be right, and you don't have to, prove anything, man. If you humble yourself, and nobody's always right, but there are some people who think they are. I've heard some of them come and talk to you before. They think they're always right. They're pretty sure of themselves.
Yeah, that's their premise. They have to be right? Or I think they go with the premise that you have to be wrong. They've labeled you, however, whatever label they want to give you, but that label enables them to say that you're a liar. Therefore, everything you say must be a lie and false. That's how they derive their truths. By contradicting or going against whatever anybody says to them that they don't like. It's a very strange thing, and we've been studying it for a fair bit. The contradiction that they can't see as a contradiction is the one that I'm particularly interested in.
Can you give me a example, or two even, if you want, but can you give me at least one example of, so I can maybe even use it, or at least be able to relate to it, antinomy? Like you kind of defined it, you kind of explained it, but can you give me an example of it off the top of your head? Or
let me, I think I still got it up here. Oh no, maybe not. I'll get it here.
Catching up, I'm a little behind, man. I don't want to fall too far behind.
a contradiction or opposition, especially between two laws or rules. It's just a contradiction. A contradiction between principles or conclusions that seem equally necessary and reasonable. A paradox.
Okay. So when McToon, like the example I gave on before I knew that it was defined and all that. So him saying that the horizontal crosshairs are true level, and then him saying also, and then him telling me that level is not straight, level is curved. That would be an example. Would you say that's an example?
Yes,
Yes, that is
would be that.
definitely an antinomy, right? But what you could call that, or what I call it, is a global antinomy. Because until the globe is referenced, it's not an antinomy. There is no contradiction. The contradiction is born, is made from the injection of the globe.
Okay.
Right, so that's a global antinomy. It has to happen.
You basically already gave an example then. So in other words, where they say the circle is a straight line, basically that's a bold-face antinomy, if you will, right?
Yeah, on the surface of a sphere being 2D. That's another one. I mean, like they're all over the place. There's thousands of them. You can't have the globe without the contradiction.
You could tell they're proud to agree with you when you start to define terms. Every time you have a discussion with them, it's never changes much. It's just straight to the point. It's perfect, really. I mean, you define terms, and they're almost proud to agree with you that that every vertical is perpendicular to every horizontal, or that vertical is perpendicular everywhere you go. That vertical is perpendicular to horizontal. They love, like, they're proud to agree to that point. But then when you draw it for them or show them, or when they talk about it, they start saying other shit, like, like they're not parallel. They kind of veer off, like they're almost being deceitful. Like, yeah, we agree that vertical is perpendicular to parallel. I mean, to horizontal. And then, but then they break all the rules that follow.
It's because I think either geometrically ignorant or inept. It's hard to tell.
I understand it's modeled. I understand it's within the model. Okay, so anybody listening, don't punch the screen. Don't worry about your oven mitts. And but the thing is like McToon calling the horizontal crosshairs true level. That makes all that non-parallel shit. That is a contradiction, a bold-faced contradiction. So if you're gonna make claims, at least stick to them. And maybe he just slipped, but he put emphasis on it. He said it twice, but then he did mumble that it was technical jargon at the end. So maybe that's his fallback. That true level being horizontal is technical jargon.
I've got a video where we went over with McToon standing at the side of the beach, going out with the water level going out and being horizontal. So McToon isn't aware of what he's thinking or saying. They don't have a geometric reference. There's something in their processing that allows them to have this contradiction. And I think it's a natural reaction, right? Because ECV, as we call it, some sort of things, right? The existential part of it, the realism, is too real that they have to veil it. They can't look behind the curtain. They can't even peek behind the curtain because they're scared of what they may see. So their brain automatically shuts off. Right, so this is what I wanted to do, and hopefully we'll go over it now.
Okay, and after that, I just posted in live chat about a 6-minute video. It's pretty interesting, but at the very least, recommend. I mean, if you even could show the first 40 seconds, or at the very least, just watch it later or whenever. But it's McToon, and I'm thinking maybe I'm missing something. It's just McToon, just saying and repeating that that the horizontal line is true level. He says it twice. Maybe I'm missing something. But so I advise everybody at least watch the very beginning of that video. But it does get better, in my opinion. But if you can even play it, it's a good one. It's right to the point.
Yeah, we'll have a look at that in a minute. We'll go over this though, because this is the title of the video, and I should have done this at the beginning, right? Now this is an enthymeme. Enthymeme is old school logic, but I'll read it out, right? An enthymeme is a form of rational appeal or deductive argument. It is also known as a rhetorical syllogism and is used in oratorical practice. Should be happy for you, right? Oratorical.
You said anthymeme? Like, is it spelled like anthem? Like, like a national?
It's fit with the E. Enther.
Let me look.
E-N-T-H-Y. Meme.
Okay. I was wondering.
You may recognize the meme part.
Not antonym. Not.
I was thinking like a national anthem.
not contradiction. Not that one.
I'm with you.
Mm-hmm.
It starts with the letter E, not A.
It says, while the syllogism... Okay. While the syllogism is used in dialectic or the art of logical discussion, the enthymeme is used in rhetoric, the art of public speaking. So the enthymeme's much more useful than a syllogism as far as speaking oratorically, right? Enthymemes are usually developed from premises that accord with the audience's view of the world and what is taken to be common sense. However, where the general premises of a syllogism is supposed to be true, making the subsequent deduction necessary, the general premises of an enthymeme is merely probable, which leads to a tentative conclusion. Originally theorized by Aristotle, there are 4 types of enthymeme, at least 2 of which are described in Aristotle's work. Here we go. Aristotle referred to the enthymeme as the body of proof, the strongest of rhetorical proofs, a kind of syllogism. He considered it to be of 2 kinds of proof, the other of which was the maxims, Aristotle thought were a derivative of enthymemes. Aristotle discusses 2 types of enthymemes, demonstrative and refutative. Demonstrative enthymemes are the fact that something is or is not the case. They draw a conclusion from what is agreed. Refutative enthymemes draw conclusions that are not agreed to by the opponent. According to Aristotle, refutative enthymemes are better liked by audiences because the inconsistencies or opposing arguments are clearer when placed side by side. Enthymemes are derived from probabilities or what happens for the most part, and signs which sometimes point to a necessary conclusions and are other times refutable. The enthymeme is what we use when we talk to each other. We use a way of deriving logical deductions by formulating arguments oratorically. This is what debates should be. Appeal to the people watching, listening.
That's good shit, man. It sounds kind of like Aristotle so long, let's say a couple thousand years ago, like Aristotle might be might be like old Greek or old Chinese for on the level, like on the Aristotle. I don't know, man. Because that's you spend a lot of time just pointing out in detail kind of what he was explaining.
It's got here visual enthymemes. Another kind of enthymeme is the visual enthymeme. Scholars have argued that words are not the only form of expression that can be understood to form enthymematic arguments. Pictures can also function as enthymemes because they require the audience to construct their meaning. Modern day internet memes are a good example of this, their meaning being inherited through the input and adaptations of the collective group of users who come across them, share them, and, unsurprisingly, create them. Now, that obviously, he didn't do that. Aristotle, that's not one of the things that Aristotle considered.
You never know, man. He might have had Discord.
No.
Aristotle might have been a Discord server 2,000 years ago. How we know that?
The idea of the enthymeme is to place something in something of the reasoning process into the other person. The idea of an enthymeme is to leave a part of a syllogism out to enable the audience to grasp a part of that logic, to make the reasoning part themselves. So
sounds kind of like blue marble science to me, man.
And then the criticism, it says,
maybe.
Go on.
It may be. It means that you can use that kind of reasoning to lead to the truth or to mislead. Yes, you can.
Right. That's why I was referring to you. I didn't mean you. Like, I meant like you point out the blue marble, like Aristotle's kind of pointing out. To me, it sounds like he's kind of pointing out the blue marble scientist. And like I said, it'd be like error level or on the Aristotle or something. Like
it'd be that he's talking about the sophistical refutations. You have to be aware of that, and obviously, if you are skilled well enough and you can manipulate people into believing something that is a falsehood, then I guess if you can do that with an enthymeme whilst conducting speech or a talk or something, I mean, that takes a lot of skill. That's why there aren't many blue marble scientists that can actually have these sort of discussions.
That's why our memes are way better than their memes, because we appeal to common sense. But when they make their memes, so let me get this right. So that was a good comparison, like talking about like a meme. It was like, so saying it might be common sense and it might not even be right. In other words, it's believed, but not necessarily true. And even maybe joked about, like it's like everybody knows this, even if it's all wrong. Am I kind of on the right page here?
That'd be like an appeal to consensus. I don't think it's necessarily talking about that, because it doesn't rely on what the audience get. This is something that you nobody's marking these people whenever they're doing that, you know.
Like misleading through ambiguity almost.
I think so, yeah. Well, again, it depends on the minds of the people that you're leading. If they're presupposed to a certain thing and you can appeal to that, then you know that they're going to sway with you. But it depends on the strength of the argument also. If there's an opposing argument that is more akin to reality, then who's going to go with what? I mean, it depends. It's like talking to a blue marble scientist. If you're talking to a room full of blue marble scientists about reality and stuff that we do, then, I mean, what are they going to say? Are they going to go with the reality view, or do they end up in aporia? Start calling you a liar? It's hard work.
Veb, you should write a book, man. You should write a book, because with all, because a lot of these words you use, you define them a lot and everything. And I have to ask, like what some of these words are, because it fell out of a lot of common language, and you point out so much, man. And if you don't write the book, like have somebody write it for you, man. You have enough fan base where somebody could write, like, this stuff needs to get written down on paper, man.
I've got a
Published.
website. Check out the On the Level website. It'll all be on there. That's where I'll put it. Maybe we can make a book out of that.
2,000 years from now, man, like in the next civilization, I guess, man. I'm kind of joking, but kind of not. But like they could look at it like before On the Level, there was Aristotle, but they kind of was talking about the same people, man. They were called like blue marble scientists back in the day, and who knows what they were called before that. But
Sophists. They've always been called sophists. And it's when you have no logic, when you have no logos, you have to employ sophistry. And you'll notice that with sophistry, there are no arguments. Guarantee you, right? If you have been in a room with, I don't know how many people for however long, and you ask them, what's the argument? What's your argument that you're making? Guarantee you will not get an argument back off them. They will not be able to formulate an argument. And that goes for anyone, really. Formulating an argument isn't as easy as it seems.
it sure isn't. And I have one that I feel like is close, but yeah, it's not as easy as it seems. But
Yes, and the difference between enthymeme and argument, especially in science, is that you can use that enthymeme in rhetoric, in public, in politics, and so on, because you have some goal, political goal. But scientist has to provide full argument without this gap. That's difference between a scientist and a guy who is using rhetoric only, because in science we need full syllogism. So you cannot create this enthymeme as proof for anything. So if blue marble science is using that kind of enthymemes, it means that they are not doing science.
You're right, and science shouldn't be vague, right? And they use the ambiguity, and hope you don't or like Bev's, like kind of like sophistry, like and talk about stuff and be vague and trying to be complicated to hope that nobody understands it, you know. And but when you delve in deeper to a lot of these subjects, you'll see that they were being vague for a reason. You know, that's my opinion on.
Yes,
Science shouldn't be vague.
This is duty of scientists to provide full syllogism, full proof, full evidence, because otherwise it is not science. So this is difference between good rhetor, guy who is good in the rhetoric or sophistry, and between a scientist, because scientists' task is different, should be different, but they are blue marble science and consortes. They are using this method, not scientific method, not science, not real argumentation, not full syllogisms, not defined terms. So that's why you can know for sure that they are not scientists and they are not seeking truth, in fact.
Yeah, that's why science is strict, man. It should be. I mean, I feel for actual scientists who do all the rigorous work, and you know, and for somebody to just come up and make observations and point and declare and make up stories, like doing rigorous experiments while people are making up rigorous stories and having to be vague or acting like they know for certain and just tell you a wildish, outlandish story about things light years and all this stuff and act just so like they're teaching you something, like they know for sure, and calling it science is not fair to actual scientists. So that's why, to me, science by definition is strict. You know, there's a reason that it means something, and you could, because it's not vague. It's, you know, it's right to the point. It proves stuff with it, you know, to a certain extent. It's where enough to where you can't prove it wrong, but not just a story. So I can't disprove. You can't say, "Hey, prove to me Santa Claus ain't real." How could I do that? You know, that's basically their story. Prove to me that there ain't stars light years away. There's no way for me to prove that. We'll never go to these places. It's a story. You know what I'm saying?
Yes, story, not science.
Logic's the way to refute that, Brian. You can refute that very easily with logic, to say that, you know, how can you prove a falsehood? How can you prove a negative? It's impossible. So you know that they're trying a diversionary tactic, right? They're trying or attempting sophistry in trying to divert you away from an actual argument to get you somewhere where you can't go. That's one of the tactics of the sophists. Because they have no argument, they only have this sophistry to get you, to divert you from an actual argument. To say thank you to Skeptic. He says he loves the show. We get one of those. Thanks, Bev. Love the show. I'll put that as a review.
It is a good show, man.
Can we finish off with this parademia? Because I don't know where Logos takes us this way. Follows it. This is the other type of proof that Aristotle had through. I mean, I guess this is oratoric proofs.
Yeah.
So this is parademia, right? It's a Greek term for a pattern, an example, or sample. The plural reads parademata. Parademata? Yeah, that sounds good. Does that sound good, Piper?
Yes, paradigmata.
Paradigmata, yeah. His closest translation is an isolated example by which a general rule is illustrated. Limited to rhetoric, paradigmata is used to compare the situation of the audience to a similar past event, like a parable. It offers counsel on how the audience should act. In the Greek tradition, many paradigmata are mythological examples, often in reference to a popular legend or well-known character in a similar position to the audience. So it's relating the audience. See, all of these things, these rhetoric, although in debate, it's also a way of presenting things to a group of people. So sometimes, like as we're in debate, or as you're talking to somebody in discussion and there are people listening, you have to have this idea of rhetoric, because you're not only speaking to the person that you're speaking to, but you're speaking to everybody else that's listening at the same time, and you've got to involve them. So this is a way for you to sort of tell a story with a meaning behind it, to put people in a certain position. And it says a lot of them. It's loads of this sort of stuff. Goes back to, don't know, religion or books. I mean, he says, like, he relates it to Homer's of the Iliad. Achilles trying to encourage Priam to eat rather than continue to weep for his dead son. Right, so the stories about that, and then there's stories about Jesus's parables in the New Testament, also linked to these type of stories. So that's going to be good for us going forwards, right? In order for us to talk to people. You relate to past experiences in order to lead an example, to put people in a frame of mind, or so that they might be able to understand the conversation where you're going.
And sometimes this example can be just invented. For example, if they are talking here about Jesus parables, so one of them is this merchant and the pearl. So he was not talking about historical merchant and historical pearl. He was just making story how to act to act like merchant who sold everything and bought this pearl. But neither this merchant or this pearl was real, historical. It's just example how we should act similarly to this merchant. So we should buy heavenly kingdom as this merchant bought this pearl. So that's so, and this is paradigma, so or parallel.
Yeah, that para, right? It is
It's
parallel
equal.
story, isn't it? It's like to give you an idea of something where you put the audience on a parallel path to a other thing. It gives them something to base themselves on, or base their frame of reference to.
Yes, and the similar meaning is, in fact, is analogy, because ana is up, upper. So it is upper logic. So you are hearing something and you are referring to more general terms. So sometimes these parables or parallels are called also analogy. So like Jesus Christ is making analogy. So this is, and it is linked to para, like parallel, because he is talking about, let's say, lower line, and he's pointing up to higher parallel line. So hear this and think about that. So you hear lower line, but thinking about upper line, which is parallel. Because if they would not be parallel, this analogy would be not true. So it has to be good analogy or good parallel, correct parallel, because otherwise you will understand the person wrongly if he would set up a wrong analogy. So it has to be proper analogy. Sorry for injection.
No, it's good. It's good. Like I say, I think this is where I'm going to be. This is the sort of stuff that interests me the most, and particularly within the argument form, the logic within the argument, within the conversation, within the rhetoric. Obviously, I'm on fucking Twitter. I'm on YouTube. Like we have this channel, we have this conversation. That's what we're about. Talking, not only going out there and doing tests and taking pictures, doing Fata Morganas, but we do logic. And the logic, the argument, the discussion, and the rhetoric. And that's my passion, really. That's what I like doing. And it's just it's a shame nobody wants to do it. But we can.
No,
obviously.
I mean, not. You can't say nobody. You can't say nobody, because I mean, that's the kind of people you attract. Is I imagine that this channel is mostly real worlders, like who work out in the world or have before and know how shit works, and don't like to deviate from reality. That's the type of fan base you have, in my opinion. A very grounded style of person. Who doesn't fall for the bullshit.
Yeah.
Okay, I have to go to bed.
Okay.
Good night.
Yeah, thank you very much, Piper. Go back to Discord. Ooh. Getting used to running the stream and everything. Yeah, let everybody know. What we have been doing is practicing this sort of stuff. We've been practicing getting a core group together. We've been practicing doing what we do. We've been practicing working with Discord. I think, personally, I know a lot of people don't like the idea of the Discord, but it is for people to get together to talk. But you can play games, but you can share your screen. You can obviously talk to each other within it, and you can share your webcams as well. So it gives you a possibility of complete communication within a debate format. You can present all sorts of things, can't you?
Yeah, you could document things like I just thought of that, man. Now that you're mentioning it, like some of these videos that I think are on title, I can put in here. Ain't there places to put
well, yeah, we
videos
could,
that are on topic?
Yeah, we could have a YouTube channel, and we could have whatever individual people's channels for putting videos in there so people can link to them.
Yeah, or topics, just like topics. I mean, I know it's one main general topic, but like even the live chat, there's places for us to share our work and stuff like that. So yeah, I think it's Discord's great.
Yeah, and I think people should use it a bit more for the discussion. Like people have the is it Google Hangouts and Streamlabs or whatever. Well, Discord's much easier for being able to share pictures and stuff. It's already open there. So hopefully we can sell Discord a bit more.
It's gaining popularity, man, Bev. It's gaining ground. Like, it's so much easier, man. Everything is right there, man. And I don't know how much work y'all are doing to set it up, all these servers, but it sure does make it easy.
Yeah, not that we want to turn this into a debate setting, but what we do want to turn it into is a place where people can talk.
Right. And if you are in the mood to debate, there's other places on Discord to go, and but this is like, I don't know, it's good because, like, some people have mental blocks, like, well, everybody has mental blocks, but, like, say a lot of people aren't in here chatting with us right now that just listen every day. They probably have things to add to the conversation, but they don't want to, like, look up and figure out how to download StreamYard or all this, but really just get past that block if you have something to add good, or just Discord in the apps, and it'll download it, and then Bev posts links, and then if you have something good to say, you'll be welcome. And dude, some people don't even know how to hit thumbs up and shit like that. Don't even know how to look at the transcripts. I mean, it's just, but so people like that, you just got to get past the little mental blocks, man, if you want to be a part of it.
Yeah, I'm gonna be. I'm gonna have to start clipping some bits, like you said. Like we will get all of these contradictions. If anybody's ever going over any of the old stuff, because I do, I like going over the really old stuff to see how the argument or our arguments haven't changed very much at all, but the people that we've been talking to and their contradictions have been exposed more and more as we've been going. Is that hot mic, Kev?
I can't do 2 omelets at once.
Kev, I'll get you.
I got about at least 5. I may have about a dozen, but I know I got a few no matter what, because that's what I like making videos out, is pointing out like lies and contradictions, man. And when people say one thing and then another day, the next day, or even sometimes the next breath, contradicts that. I've got plenty of them, man, and I know you do too, and everybody else. God, man, what a great topic that would be to have them all compiled into one, bro. That would be monumental, epic.
Yeah, I think you
let me
could
stop
probably
right
have.
there, Brian, what I told you earlier, it's true. I am going to draw a circle.
I wonder if that's sugar cookie, man. That is that dude. He had me fooled, man. Like I just heard his blue marble science. That we got to do something with that, dude. That is awesome, dude. That is, dude. He sounds more blue marble science than blue marble science.
Yeah, we've got blue marble science reading Betty Logic, the proofless logician. Skeptic. Okay, yeah, sorry. I will get you on that. I'll sort that out, Skeptic, straight away. Let me get that wrote down.
Jim Panda. So little old you think you're smarter than every scientist who's ever existed, ever. And you, little old you, think you are smarter than the whole world combined. I'm gonna mute you. You're gonna make me mute you. But anyway, so there's no way a light can disappear right in front of my eyes. That's me working on my Jim Panda, dude. Sometimes I get it, sometimes I don't. But it's hilarious, man. But I can't compete with the blue marble scientist. That's epic too, man. Jim Penn, I'll never forget. He comes in Brandon's. Brandon is showing pebbles on the pond, and they're talking about how can the sun set or something. I know it's a little off topic, but it's worth hearing. I'll make it quick. So he comes in, and so pebbles on the pond has a laser, one at like 2 inches, one at 3 inches, one at 4 inches. He's on a garage floor, 100 feet away. With the camera sitting on the floor. He's recording. It ain't a picture, it's a video. He opens the garage door and lets cold air in. And so slow, and then one at a time, the lights disappear. It takes a minute, and then the bottom light disappears. Then the next one. And Jim Penn is like, there's no way that the light disappeared in front of my eyes. That didn't just happen. That's not possible. I was like, dude, I'll never forget that. Just denying his very eyes, like this guy, like, was trying to trick him, bro. It was epic, man. There's so many things we go back and pull up, but I think we should start with the contradictions. In that's my favorite topic: the lies and the contradictions. I'm gonna start working on it, Bev, man. And if I send you like a bunch of them over the course of a couple weeks or whatever, you willing to put something together?
Well, I have hard enough time getting all of my bits together. I'm at the minute, Brian. I'm absolutely run over all sorts of projects. The amount of projects that I've got going is far too many.
I understand. God, you don't even know, bro. If you could see me right now where I'm sitting with all the stuff I got going. Little projects. I got like a gajillion of them, dude. Never finishing nothing hardly. But I'll focus in on one. But I'll have 100 little dumb shit projects going on at once. To be honest, man. So I definitely feel you. But man, that's my heart though. My heart and soul is this discussion and calling out bullshit. I'm not always right. I'm wrong. I gotta humble it up. Eat shit sometimes, man, but at least I will, man. There's people out there who won't do it. There's people who will just disappear. They'll just leave, because it's just the internet. They won't humble themselves. They'd rather just disappear. And I think we know a few people like that, but I want to do it, man. I want to try and put together. So if you do find the time, see what you can add, man. I'll put them together. Anybody else listening? We got nothing but time, We could do it next month, next year, next week. It'd be an epic video, though, man, to put all their contradictions on one video, like an hour-long video, like a top 100 global contradictions, or I don't know. That's just an idea.
Yeah, that's what I'm aiming for, right? It's before we started this. I mean, we started it with the geometry, right? Fight the Flat Earth brought me in by telling me that I didn't know not Euclidean geometry, and that's how straight lines bent. So through that, I learned logic. Like logic brought us to logic, and logic has brought us to the understanding that the entire model is built up of contradictions. So within the rhetoric and the discussions we have, like the Elenchus, that process brings out these contradictions, and we've found them all, I think. So really, the discussions and the reasons why the blue marble scientists don't like talking to us, not wanting to sound too big-headed, but they don't want to talk to us because we can expose the contradictions. We've used the logic to be able to do that.
We probably have found them all, you know, but it still doesn't take away from all the different versions of them that we get. You know what I'm saying? Like,
well, the more we talk to them, the better. But the more refined their arguments become, or their rebuttals, right? And that's what I like watching, how it's changed. Because I've been recording these conversations, you can go back and listen to the old stuff and see how it's changed.
These recordings are priceless, man, because every person you came in has seemed to have their own brand of horse shit, dude. And it's just a little slip it in horse shit. You know, it's always just a couple little key points, but they're the important points, and they all got their own style of bending it. It's priceless, bro. These videos.
Yeah, Skeptic, if you let us in and come into Discord, and we'll help you try and get into the conversation part. Yeah. Anytime, come into the Discord. That's where we all hang out for most of the day, most of the morning, the UK time. It's a bit quiet, but then once the Americans and the Canadians start waking up, we get into some pretty good discussions. Over the last few days, to be honest, the discussions that we've been getting up to and throughout most of the day have made me forget about what we're doing in the show of a night time, and that's why we've been a bit up in the air. That and other things going on. So yeah, what we do here isn't this thing of a night time. Most of what we do is in the Discord, the group of people. Most people don't really speak on this show because obviously you get the blue marble scientists and all of that people. So come into the Discord and just have a chat. It's a good group of people.
I wanted to ask Sugar Cookie Blue, man. What is that a good idea of us compiling all y'all's contradictions, man?
I'm in the middle of drawing a circle right now.
Okay, and you don't think that circle's a contradiction, Blue?
Hold on a minute.
Epic, man. He even did. He responded back to Blue, man. Blue even had to chuckle at that, man. That's epic.
Is Blue over there at Geo's or? I
don't think it was. I don't think it was it at Geo's. I don't think. I'm not sure where it was at, man. He told me about it. Yeah, Blue's definitely. He's come to Geo's. It's been a minute, but yeah, he's came there a few times.
I think he did it over at Blue's.
Might have been. Where was it?
It was in Blues.
I think it was at both. For sure. It was also at, yeah, it was a while back. Yeah, it's been a minute. You're right. He did get a little bit of a chuckle out of it.
Dude, hearing that, dude, fills my heart with some type of weird joy, bro. It's so hilarious, bro. It's so hilarious. You never get like out of line with it or trying to plagiarize it. It's obvious, but it's so funny, dude. It's so like, bro, that's talent, bro.
Well, I don't have to make
unique
anything
voice.
up. I mean, all you got to do is say what he says, and it's stupid. You know what I mean?
Like when he says my name, bro, he says my name just like Blue. When he did that last night, I swear I thought it was Blue. I was like, oh shit, he's calling me out.
Brian, hold up 1 second.
Yeah, we got a little midweek crisis going on, Bev, with the show topic, man. A little midweek crisis, but that's okay, man. I mean, it's
Just so you know, my favorite flavor is bubblegum.
favorite color is My favorite color is corduroy.
Right. I think it's about that time anyway. Everybody's going. Gadget's going. Everyone. Gadget, have you not gone yet? I hope he... Thank you very much for joining. Seeing as Gadget's going to bed, everybody's going.
Can I get a final comment?
Yeah,
real quick? I'm going to repost in live chat, man. McTuna, and maybe we could talk about this on Free For All Friday for a minute. And I would like to get opinions, or if I'm missing something with McToon emphasizing, saying twice that the horizontal crosshairs are true level. And so it's the first 30, 40 seconds of that video. I'm going to post it in live chat, and maybe we can talk about it tomorrow. Thanks for having me, Bev.
Okay. Thank you, Brian. You guys on the Discord, we're not going to be signing out with Buster tonight, but I might put this because it's very poetic. I might put this on a Buster you don't understand. See how it works. Right, okay, so you guys seeing that? Okay, thank you very much. What day is it? It's Thursday, isn't it? Join us tomorrow, Free For All Friday. Hopefully we'll get some good discussions. I mean, we'll still carry on with the discussions. Thank you very much, Skeptic, for your help. That'll be very useful. Yeah, come and join us tomorrow, Free For All Friday, on the Level Discord. Try thinking. Just remember, be at peace with your monad, whatever shape it may be.
Apparently, some people here are struggling with all as versus some as. A lot of students struggle too. Here's how I explain. Clearly, all as or B implies some as or B. Otherwise, if some as or B is false, then no as or B, which contradicts our initial assumption that all as or B. Hence, all as or B implies some as or B. But in that case, some as or B cannot imply not all as or B, or suppose it did. And then, all as or B implies some as or B, and some as or B implies not all as or B. Hence, all as or B implies not all as or B, which is a contradiction. Hence, some as or B does not imply not all as or B. Logic 101. And I'm going to go draw me a circle. Over the years, some people here are struggling with all as versus some as. A lot of students struggle too, and here's how I explain. Clearly, all as or B implies some as or B. Otherwise, if some as or B is false, then no as are B, which contradicts our initial assumption that all as are B. Hence, all as are B implies some as are B. Well, in that case, some as are B cannot imply not all as are B. Or, suppose it did, then all as are B implies some as are B. And some as are B implies not all as are B. Hence, all as are B implies not all as are B, which is a contradiction. Hence, some as are B does not apply not all as are B.